And welcome back to another beautiful week of the Oceanic Challenger Series. Week 6, in fact. My name's Jake Asterix, Aussie Penko, Bradley T-Gun Seymour, always with me at the desk. And T-Gun, this is going to be a week to remember.
I'm happy. This
meta
so. Is exactly what I've always wanted. You can do whatever you want. There's no rules.
Literally.
You send what you want where you want to go. I can't wait to see, especially Dark-Sided, because I just want to see people go where they're not expected
We've
to be.
seen the OPL last week, and we saw some variations there with the Brom mid, which I'm glad we're kind of over that now. After watching the LPL and the LCK, internationally, this has been picked up, like a hot air balloon going for a rampage.
I don't think hot air balloons go on rampages.
You have not been in a hot air balloon. Let's have a look at yesterday's games, because you would have missed out on a couple of things, though. And with yesterday, that was no exception whatsoever, Mr. T-Gun Seymour. This is a meta that we can be proud of. This is also a time to bring out crazy picks.
I hate saying crazy picks. I just say pick whatever you want. Pick whatever you think is strong, and you can do it. We see Aatrox top. We see Vladimir. I'm going to call it bot from now on. It's not ADC. We barely see ADCs. You just send it wherever you want. And teams did it yesterday. We already saw. We haven't seen it yet yesterday, but we saw the results. We saw the champions picked, and I expect that we'll see more of it today.
Yeah, well, I was actually waiting for yesterday's games, but apparently we're not having a look at that. Yeah, there we go. All right, so we are into yesterday. Chiefs Academy Intuition. This was a game we hyped up for you last week, and it definitely delivered.
Chiefs, they looked great. We saw a little bit of this game off broadcast, and Chiefs, they were in the driver's seat for about 10-15 minutes until Intuition clawed their way back into it, and once Intuition took control, they never let go.
Well, 5-1 now for Chiefs Academy, but Intuition undefeated. The Tectonic Academy, it just didn't come through, because we all know that Mammoth Academy, this is their better. Especially.
I don't think there is a single team in the OCS better suited than Mammoth Academy.
Even the OPL. I mean, even Mammoth Regular, I dare say they do not come anything close to how much fun at Mammoth Academy
How can you deal with a team who was known for playing Rammus when it wasn't even meta?
Yeah.
Now you could make an argument to play it. So Mammoth picking up the victory. But again, Tectonic, they looked strong in this loss. So looks like they're sort of adapting to the meta pretty quickly.
But I'm kind of glad, because for Mammoth Academy, they've been getting better and better each week, but we'll chase up on them next week. But for the final game of yesterday, Legacy Genesis, they pulled out an Aatrox on Minky Well.
They did.
But it did not get them the win.
It did not. First I want to praise Bombers Academy. This is a team that's looked inconsistent. They came in to a struggling meta, pulled out the victory. Good on them. But for Legacy Genesis, and this is going to sound harsh, but there's no other way to put it, something needs to change. There is no excuse for them.
That was not harsh at all. That was so light.
I mean, when I say something needs to change, I'm talking you're either benching someone to bring in a new player or completely changing how you view the game.
Who would you bench?
I'm not going to answer that. I am friends with a lot of people in Legacy. I'm not about to burn a bridge, no matter how hard you may try. But, I mean, they're very close to the bottom of the ladder. And they have all the experience on the team. They have all the reasons to be up the top, and they're just not pulling through.
At least they're having fun. Let's look at today's games, because we've got some burners for you as well. Dark-Sided without a win. The only team in the OCS without a win will be trying to take one off of Order Academy, who only have one to their name.
This is what I would say is the greatest position to be in for the teams that are on the bottom of the ladder. A new meta which is going to completely throw things for a loop. We're seeing what I want to call the old standard, with their very defined roles, thrown out the window. So if you're able to adapt quickly, perhaps this suits you better than previously, you can start turning your season around.
Look, I don't think today's going to be about the Stompers, because there are none on this list. With the new change in meta, everything is up for grabs, and we're going to see some upsets, we're going to see some creativity, but most of all, we're going to see if Dark-Sided can kick things off. T-Gun, I'll start by saying that for Dark-Sided, they need to change things up. They need to get out of their comfort zone. 0-5. Something has got to give, because Command, the import, has not made a change in this roster.
Well, we have seen them play in different roles. We saw there was one week where their roster was all just playing sort of different roles than what they're used to. And in a meta like this, where you don't even pick things to play in their roles, we see Vladimir ADC, we see Yasuo ADC. And again, it's so strange to call it ADC,
fine.
right?
ADC's fine. Keep going.
You sort of see people pick things because it's a counter pick. You pick Lucian into Orianna, and you just follow it. You go top, mid, bottom, wherever. You don't care. You just follow it. So there's a possibility that in today's games, you'll see counter picks, and we won't even see Command go mid. We might see him go bot lane because it's better suited to see him there, and that could benefit them.
Well, Command won't be playing Orianna, that's for sure, because that champion is no longer existing on Summoner's Rift. Let's have a look at those rosters again, because we'll be looking at Command, as we're talking about, but let's see if Ecotoxic and Frolic coming in place of Yuzuki can actually make a change. The bottom line is not what it seems.
I will say this is a tough ask for Ecotoxic, because he's been an ADC for as long as I can remember, and that's all he really practices.
Yeah.
Now coming into a meta where there's so many new champions you have to learn.
Out the window.
You basically have to learn, I would say, about 3/4 of the champions pretty intricately. And that's a hard ask for anyone. So the bot lane they're thrown for a loop. Like I said, look at Chungi, for example. He's a well-known Yasuo player. He tries to pick at every chance.
I think that's an advantage for Auto Academy, T-Gun. They have that flex opportunity.
They could even send Chungi bot with the Yasuo instead of sending it to Styled.
We've seen a role swap.
Put Lucian mid and have Styled there instead. There's so many possibilities for how you sort of build your team. And with two teams who they weren't, let's put it bluntly, they were not performing well in the previous meta. If they're able to sort of take to it aggressively, this could be where they sort of make their surge towards placing high enough to play in the elimination bracket.
8.11, everything on the line. We jump into Darksider taking on Auto Academy. For Auto Academy, their strength definitely lies in Chungi, but Darksider need to enable Command. I said that last week, and look, Yee's off the board. Who would have thought the champion that pairs with Tarek would get banned first?
I'm happy and sad at this ban. The ban is good because it's a great champion, especially with the well-known Yi Tarek mid-jungle duo, but it's bad in that it says to me they don't want to go down that role. They don't want to go down that role of playing, you know, double smite mid-jungle or playing the support mid and the carry jungle. So
we just don't want it first picked. I mean, Yi is a monster at the moment.
He's great, but he does have counterplay. That's the thing. We even saw it get through in LCK, and if they're letting it through, there's got to be some reason to how to play against it. So it screams to me they want to just play standard, play back to the defined roles, and like I said before we even started, I don't want to see that from these two teams. I want to see them start defining themselves in this new meta that's sort of emerging.
Well, how did Darksider do that? They banned Talia, they banned the Yasuo. The most standard ban we've seen so far is Auto Academy getting rid of the Aurelia, which has been played heavily mid. Now for Darksider, disabling the Camille, which has been sitting jungle a lot of the times.
Interestingly enough, Camille, great champion, sits jungle, very safe top as well, isn't the greatest top player. We spoke very briefly before on Aatrox being picked up by Minky Whale. Now, the people that I speak to that are generally in the know of this widely regard Aatrox as the new top lane of the pick.
Yeah.
Safe into everything, destroys champions, like I said, in Camille. Very great split pusher. The only detriment is if he gets behind, he's a lot like Renekton where he's not very useful. So banning Camille, prioritizing that over potentially the new pick in Aatrox.
Wow.
Strange.
Okay, first pick on has caught me by surprise, but remember this is a flex. T-Gun, I want to point something out before we go through. Morgana's banned, one of your favorites at the moment in this patch, and the response for Auto Academy, Lucian Brom.
I would say that's bot lane. So Lucian Brom coming into 8-11 were pretty much said they were the new Zyrica. They were the new bot lane to pick. Now, if you're going to open pick both of them, it says to both me and I assume it says it to Darksider, its coach as well, that you're not flexing the Lucian. You're not planning on sending him mid on top unless something drastic changes. So Auto Academy picking their bot lane in reaction to the Ornn first pick, I like that because there's nothing you can really take here that punishes Ornn.
Well, considering that at the moment, I mean, Alistar's still open. You ban away the Yasuo, excuse me, but for Auto Academy, they feel safety in this high-scaling mid-game AD carry. Yeah? Yeah. I almost took you to...
I mean, it's... So
high-scaling mid-game.
Safety is a non-existent factor in the games right now. There's no such thing as picking scaling things and picking safely.
High-scaling mid-game.
We see the game... When is mid-game right now?
At 10 minutes in the game.
That's about right. Average game time right now is probably somewhere in the realm of 22 to 25 minutes.
Oh, yeah.
So mid-game is almost non-existent. You just have early game and then the end. Answer from Darksider in Ezreal. Again, you can assume that's going bot.
Yeah.
I do like it. I think it is one of the champions that didn't really get hit by the changes. He doesn't really generally build crit. He still goes his double-tier scaling build.
You know, he's down a little bit in 8.12, but we're not there yet.
Yeah, he does get hit again because...
You have to.
You know, bye-bye ADCs. The only detriment is, like we said before, there's no real mid-game, there's no real scaling, so he never really gets that 2-tier item effectiveness where he wants to be.
Right now, I see comfort on the board for Order Academy. Alani once again picks up the Trundle, and it feels like adaptation from the OCS teams, especially in the teams that are struggling for wins at the moment. You say, right, they're going back to their comforts over maybe what's available. On the board right now, I see a Graves open, I see Skarner open, I see a lot of other jungler picks that maybe would rather take into the dueling Xin Zhao.
I wouldn't have even said Graves and Skarner. I would have went to something like Nunu Karthus or just something completely strange, right? I was saying it before. I don't want to see them playing standard because it hasn't been where they've excelled.
Well, Alawi's not standard. That's a weird ban, but yeah.
That might be a specific ban against Quake Crew. I'm not sure, but it's not a pick, all right? Bans can be as wacky as they want.
Bans are not picks. Confirmed. I'll quote you on that down the split. Sorry, Tegan. After you.
Jeez. Bans, while they're important, they can be wacky, they can be very targeted, whereas picks are what sort of defines your team's playstyle, obviously, right?
Yes.
Thank you.
Not wrong.
Poppy is a pick. Against Ornn, I do like it. I think being able to remove the Ornn or at least disrupt his ability to cast his ultimate is a pretty big factor.
But is that going to be an Ornn top? Like at the moment?
Yes.
Well, hang on. Alistar has been locked in. I mean, look. I honestly, I'm not saying anything. It's 8.11, folks.
So why I said yes is everything these teams have done screams that they're playing back to the old standard.
Okay.
Nothing they've done has screamed that they're playing this new weird meta yet. Yeah, they still could do it down the line.
No, Tiga, they are playing the meta. There's a Karthus.
Yeah, but it's going mid.
Yeah, but that's not meta.
He's not taking Smite.
Meta? What is meta?
Karthus generally is played mid.
Metamorphosis, right? Yes.
That's not what it refers to.
Well, no, but that's what the new meta is. Metamorphosis. How has League of Legends changed? Read it on Reddit.
I don't think that's
What'd you explain
okay,
this one,
so
though?
yeah, that is either a Kai'Sa or a Lucian mid. So I was wrong when I said I thought well, I assume I was wrong at least. We'll have to wait till they finish all their swaps. Kai'Sa still a strong pick. It's something we haven't really spoke of. She got hurt a little bit in the nerfs. Obviously, a lot of ADCs got their base stats changed, but she still does quite well with the Gwynsus. She can scale quite early.
Yeah.
And against Ezreal, especially Ezreal Alistar, Order Academy will have that aggression bot lane. They have that priority in the 2v2, so taking the Lucian mid as a counterpick to Karthus, Lucian quite a mobile champion, so he's not going to get caught on the Skittles, not going to get caught by all the Karthus abilities. I do like it from Order Academy. It's just, it's a comp that if they get behind, the Karthus is going to tear them all apart.
Oh yeah, because for Darkside, look how many damage threats they have on the map. 3 as amount to 2 for Order Academy, and even though the Trundle is good at dueling in the late game, we do not get there. We will not get there. And if we do get there, someone will quote me because this is just a composition that screams at the Lucian.
The goal of the Trundle is to simply neutralize the Ornn in team fights. So even if they don't get to late game, he's still going to be quite useful. He's neutralizing one of the very few tanks that are available. Obviously, Alistar's still quite tanky as well, but Trundle's not really going to be focusing him. So I do like the pick, but again, I would have preferred something else.
But I think it's quite interesting putting command on the Karthus, the man of focus here for Darkside as they look for their first win again in Week 6. And Order Academy want to shut them down, the Lucian mid at Contestant.
I will say this, Karthus is one of the picks that you can take in that new double jungle, double smite type deal. So maybe they're just testing the waters here. And then next week we can see them push it even further and put the Karthus with the smite and take the supported mid.
There's a TP on the Karthus mid. I figure if you do this, you at least commit. And I guess with the OCS teams, there has been that tiptoeing towards this meta. Last week, when we were the first, I guess, the first region or the first competitive region to move on to it, we saw that one Taliyah jungle. That was it. Now this week, is it going to be the same after what we've witnessed from international regions and from the OPL?
Well, we did see Taliyah jungle banned out, I assume jungle at least, banned out this game.
Yep.
So there is still being respect shown to these strong picks. Things like Taliyah, Aurelia.
Yes.
There's still a lot of respect being shown towards them, Morgana as well. So even though there are all these other avenues, we saw Yi banned out as well, you do have to pay respect to them because if you don't and they all get through, suddenly, even if you're playing this new style, you're playing against these extremely strong champions and it's still difficult to deal with.
Definitely is, but for Command, I think there's going to be a change. This is ambitious from Order Academy.
I love this.
Is Huey on the wrong side? No.
Huey was in the perfect spot there. Just Unfortunate that Star got tagged up by Ecotoxic's Q. Very smart by Ecotoxic to throw out that Q. That's not something that would often be done, so well aware of that possibility of being cheesed. Just doesn't pay off for Order Academy.
Wilson just shows mid, goes up top side, will eventually launch himself onto the first Scuttle Crab of the game. And I want to take your attention back to the bot side, because with Styled, he's a Cogmore player. He's a heavy Cogmore player. And for him to make, I guess this is half an adaptation to move away from a champion that now just can't get to the point of contention in games. I think Style, that's a good move. That's a good start.
I mean, of course you think it was a good move. You said before broadcast started you thought Cogmore shouldn't even be a champion anymore.
No, Cogmore is puke. I'll be honest. If anyone plays Cogmore, I'm calling it.
Kaisa is a great champion. I'm going to give you that. We're just going to go back on track here. Kaisa's a great champion. She didn't really get hit by the nerfs. She's still very, very strong and able to pretty much solo carry games if it gets to that point. So, smart pickup by Style, especially if he is just sort of learning this champion to play against the potential AP threats to come.
Wilson ambitious as always, but Alani able to spot that one out. Starts right anyway. Wilson's tracking around, but you can see that mid priority goes over to command, so he should be the first to roam in. If anything happens here, Wilson has backup.
I think it's more likely that this is just an awkward dance where the red resets a bunch before people coming in.
2 versus 2. Alani does get the red buff. Levels up to 3. The damage will go down and the pillars there as well. Wilson flashes over, but Kwaku's going to follow. This is not good for the jungler of Darksided. He smite for health, but Alani's match against the wall. An easy first blood, and it goes to the top laner of Order.
Very, very smart by Kwaku to both come down and collapse before Raven can, and then follow him over the wall to ensure he gets shut down. Started by a great smite from Alani. That smite was so important because essentially when they both decided, yes, the red buff is going to die, whoever got that smite was going to win that 2v2 brawl or 3v3 if the mid laners ended up tracking up as well.
But if you want to shut us into Zhao down early, do that. I mean, he did
it to himself.
Yeah, but you know, at the end of the day, now command is probably not going to get too much response in the mid lane. There's going to be a lot more invading. Kwaku's just come in. Wilson's still level 2. He's down 12 CS. And command can't roam. He can't move to this.
The scariest part of this isn't this blue buff. Like, even if Wilson got this stolen, the worst part is the second blue buff. Command is going to get very, very little priority on that blue buff unless things change quite drastically, because Order Academy are going to be able to maintain a lot of control up in that top side, and without blue buff, Karthus he's going to struggle quite heavily.
But already, it's about that. Like, we're going to talk about the meta a lot today, folks. It'll happen. It won't stop. In this meta, the changes have enabled teams who have high macro early to flourish. And for a team like Darksided in the past, have we said that? Well, yes. But towards the late game, their decision-making hasn't been on track, but at least they've gone, we're going to die as a team, we're going to live as a team, whatever. We're going to do things together. For Order Academy, early game has been their game. And when you put it up neck and neck, you say, I might know how this one will go, but we're not sure.
It's also, it's so difficult to get to that late game now. How do you get to
there is no such thing.
Late game when late game is 25 minutes? That's not when you've scaled. You know, if Karthus is going to go row a tier, that's not going to work.
Again, Alani, a level up Wilson, will want to take the blast cone. And he gets over. Now starting on the Krugs, and this has just been not the start you want for Darksided. Alani has free roam, and in the top side, if Raven can get something off the Kwaku, then you'd have to say there's a change in pace for Darksided.
Raven pretty much needs to make something happen before the recalls and the teleports come out. If they both just sort of reset and come back to the lane, Kwaku's going to be up that first blood gold. And now the 1v1 becomes just significantly more difficult for Raven to deal with. So letting the back off freely there, letting Kwaku get that nice safe TP, even though Raven's able to build the item in lane, doesn't matter, he has to recall himself. Not loving the decision there, but if he's able to make it work, if he's able to come back TP and bring Wilson into the picture to potentially, you know, make an even trade, especially now that Poppy doesn't have flash, could work out for him.
Well, how can he impact the mid lane? Because Commander's picked a very risky pick when you, I guess you don't have the blood boiled Nunu to get you so far ahead after 10 minutes of the game. We've all seen it. You give blood boil to a Karthus and immediately he's doing like late game damage. So how do we enable this mid lane that has TP and doesn't have smite for objective control?
Karthus is still a strong champion in his own right. while he can get that buff from Nunu and be incredible early on, he's still going to be a nuisance at worst for the Order Academy team. His ultimate, especially once he hits that scaled point, he's opted for the tier first. If he chooses to go Roa next, and the game does end up going to that 20-minute mark, it will be doing a good third, potentially even half of both Lucian and Kaiser's health, as well as taking big chunks out of the Braum and Trundle. So for one champion to do that across the board, very, very scary for Order Academy to look at, and needs a pretty immediate response in terms of itemization and playstyle.
Well, at the moment, he is about 13 CS behind, but he should be able to catch up as he hasn't used his TP just yet. And the Predator Karthus should be able to have some chase ability, if that is even a word, against Chungy. Chungy's opted for the Ignite in this double AD carry comp for Order Academy. Just when it gets to the mid-game and you start saying, if Darkseid fall too far behind, then there could be some trouble.
I think if they fall behind, there's a lot of trouble. That is a composition you do not want to be behind with. There's not a whole lot of wave clear from Darkseid, and a lot of their strength, like we've said before, comes from that scale. It comes from being quite even, going into that 15-20 minute phase. So if they're not able to get to that point effectively and comfortably, it will be incredibly difficult to deal with Order Academy.
You saw an attempted Drake there from Alani, but he backs all the way off. And finally, Wilson's been able to catch up, so you got to give it to Wilson. The Darkseid junglers managed to find his purpose back in this game and match Order Academy. The only goal difference is due to First Blood, and with that Infernal up first, sorry folks, there is no skin on this stream. With Infernal up first, Order Academy, they haven't been able to secure that Drake, so I think you got to give props to Darkseid and where props are due.
They've done extremely well dealing with Alani's early pressure. We saw Alani going into red side, being aggressive, and wasn't able to get things done.
That was on Styled and Huey, if you're wondering why that Requiem just came flying down. They will escape with their life, but the bottom lane, it's going to be a huge advantage that goes over. Oh, the 1v1 has begun. Chungy, he wins.
That's the benefit of Ignite. You were saying it before it even started. Taking teleport a little risky into a champion that can be as aggressive as Lucian, especially with Ignite. Chungy lays down the challenge, takes our command.
I think there's a big issue brewing right now for Darkseid. Chungy gets his first kill. He's 20 CS ahead. And although Ecotoxic has been able to push a couple of waves up against Styled and Huey, it's not a big enough lead just yet. The mid lane has been controlling these games. In 8.11, it continues to do so. Blade of the Ruin King almost finished there for Chungy. Comes back to lane. Let's see where the priority lands from someone like Wilson.
The only benefit Darkseid got out of that, out of Chungy killing their mid laner, was Chungy's recall timing meant they couldn't contest that blue. So, small victory there for Darkseid, even though everything has started to fall apart. Karthus with blue, very, very important. Now he's going to be a lot more aggressive.
Well, Wilson's decided to go in. This is overly ambitious. Wilson almost dead, has to pop the ultimate. Chungy gets popped down by command, so let me take that back, Mr. Wilson. All 1 for 0.
I tell you what, I thought Wilson had bit off more than he could chew. I thought he went in too early and too aggressively. But apparently he timed it perfectly. Did enough damage to Chungy, held him up long enough for command to come in, throw down the slow, throw down the Skittles, and equalize that kill disadvantage in mid lane.
Remember, we were questioning how could Darkseid adapt. They have to push themselves out of their comfort zone. Not so much for Wilson this game, but definitely for Command, who's swapped from champions like Orianna, Vladimir, now to something as potent as a Karthus. Getting that first kill, that puts him back on track with Chungy. And for Darkseid, that adaptation has been a success so far for the attempted, I guess, revival against Order Academy.
One thing we haven't touched on after the First Blood happened was how does Kwaku adapt to the lane? He doesn't have minion dematerializers, so these banded up cannons from Raven are going to be almost impossible to deal with. This tower is going to slowly go down, and not even just that. Anytime Raven banners up a minion, he can threaten to go mid, he can threaten to TP bottom, he can leave that lane quite happily, while Kwaku has opted to go for Sunfire Cape. Not loving the itemization, given how strong we know Banner is right now.
I think for Kwaku, TP's still up, so there's still something there. But I'm excited to see where Command goes. Like, it's going to be half my conversation is going to be about mid lane. Like, it's a Karthus who now has a kill, and is stacking up that tier, and Wilson looks like he's trying to prompt mid, but the vision control set up nicely by Order Academy.
I would love for it to start pushing forward. Right now, they just have a nice defensive line where they're not going to get invaded. No one's going to be roaming. It's just going to keep everything nice and standing. Auto Academy, they've conceded a couple things recently, but they still are in the lead. They still do need to be aggressive and start trying to take things away from Darkside. Move those wards up and attack the ward line of Darkside, especially in the bot side of the map.
Just have to point out, I mean, there's a little bit of wave clear. Like, Command has wave clear. You're nodding your head going, oh.
Yes, but it's not the wave clear.
Oh, no, Raven! He has to flash. And deservedly so, I think, at that point.
It's a great pillar.
Yeah. Yes, it was.
Back to the wave clear on Cartha.
Sure.
It's not the wave clear you expect. Huey being caught out a little bit, but he should be fine.
Pause a little bit. There's a TP coming in as well. Auto Academy chasing on the Frolic, and for Ecotoxic and Wilson, how are they going to deal with this? Quaku built the Sunfire Cape for lane, but now does it work in fight? Chungy on the side, the Dragon helping out. Frolic doesn't take a hit, but Ecotoxic in the backside, and Auto Academy, they push them all out, and they just turn on Dragon. They say, yoink, that'll be mine, Command. Can he get anything? Close. But no cigar. The Ornhorn, Raven's there.
Darksided should be backing out here. They've expended almost everything. Auto Academy going to be able to back away as well.
Wilson gets sent flying to at least Amsterdam. But he comes back, and Darksided, they lose an objective over that as well.
What an important objective as well. Infernal Drake, first Drake, taken away by Auto Academy after we thought Huey was caught. Really great collapse from all of them. Quick TPs, quick reactions. Darksided going to look to take down the mid tower as a return.
Ecotoxic leaves the ward because he wants to pressure this turret. And Auto Academy, 2 members. Raven gets the knock up and teleport now. Channel, the Banner of Command minion goes down and styled running in. Wilson in a bad position. Gets popped up by Quaku, and again getting caught out as the jungler of Darksided.
Wilson just a bit too far forward there. Auto Academy collapse, get the kill. And now, from that fight, look at the recalls all on Darksided. All of them trying to recall at the same time. If Auto Academy, I think what they should have done is let those go through, because then they get the mid tower.
Yep. Well, I know Frolic's back in action. Command has no mana. But good point there, Tiga. Turret will stand. And still no first objective apart from that Infernal Drake. Auto Academy, they pick up 1 kill onto Wilson. They're 1,000 gold ahead. I think it's quite exceptional that Darksided have held on, but there needs to be some firming up moving into the mid game. Late game.
I think the key word was held on. Yeah. And yes, mid game doesn't exist. The key word is held on. They are still scaling. You know, if this was a solo queue game, you'd still just be typing it in. We're scaling. We're scaling. Everyone just chill out.
Don't tell me, is that what you do? A support's job is to type stuff like that. I'll be like, don't worry guys, we got it, you know? And you always get the positivity medals at the end.
I mean, not always.
Well,
you do try and be the moral support, though.
If you're playing Karma Lulu, you always get it.
You absolutely do not.
This is what happens when you're
Who do you remember? The person that supported the carry or the carry?
That's a trick question, isn't it? You don't remember any of them. It's 8.11. There's no such thing.
I mean, I remember the other day when I had a 16-0 Lee Sin in my game.
Yeah?
I don't remember anyone else in that game.
I've never seen that happen, ever. At Lee Sin? No, rubbish. Darksided. What's not rubbish is Raven's ability to escape here. The Ornhorn into the wall. Quaku, great flash, and the 2v1 doesn't work out. But underneath the turret, Quaku, why did you walk back in? For the shield, I get it. Requiem, Quaku lives.
What has to be said is that was a great stun by Quaku. Almost perfectly timed. Raven still got the ultimate off. Still was able to hit it, just didn't hit it in the right way. Hit it downwards instead of upwards. But you can already see the reasoning behind the Poppy is to disrupt that ultimate cast from Raven. Throw in the stuns, throw in the ultimate to just sort of knock him up, stun him, delay him. And we see it in action right there.
Well, if we can't get around the map, Darksided say we push through the bot side. Frolic, his first day on the Rift, and he says, let's go, styled. Now on the backside, Wilson's there. But for Darksided, it's bottom side of the map. I don't think we've seen it win this hard in quite a while.
Yeah, credit to Ecotoxic and Frolic. They're just bullying out their laning counterparts. Wilson now living down on that bot side, trying to help them as well. And this should equalize the turrets.
Finally going forward, Frolic. X-Flash.
I like the idea.
Execution 10 out of 10. First turret goes down for Darksided, and they close that gap just a little bit, just like Frolic.
I tell you, I'm happy whenever someone just channels Hex Flash in your face. Because anyone that just gets caught off guard, isn't respecting it, is going to get domed by the Alistair.
Domed. Absolutely domed depoted. Order Academy got some shopping to do now. Darksided again. Raven just blocks. I think the pillars from Alani have been on point. Like, that's a good hit rate.
They've been good. Dome Depot.
What it is?
It happened. Rift Herald pick up by Darksided. Frolic looking for more as well.
What's the cost? Because Frolic gets tagged in. There's going to be no second skin usage of the ultimate there from Style. Order Academy, they lose another objective, so Darksided starting to make this game more and more theirs and more equal.
Command did not want to give up that pink ward.
He did not.
He was throwing the Skittles. He didn't even let the Brom kill it. He just moved it.
Are you calling it Skittles? Is that cue the Skittles?
Yeah.
Is that what you
What else are they?
I heard you say it before, and I'm like, Skittles?
What do you think they are?
What? I don't know. Is it the ability name that I can't remember because I don't play cards?
Skittles.
Skittles. Right. I know the ult's called Requiem. Like, what do you call that? Raining Skittles. Raining Men.
Call it Requiem.
That's okay. Not Skittles. I guess, in a sense as well, Command. I think for him, taking a step back from our, sugar craving, for him being 40 CS down, that's fine. Like, this is actually okay for Darksided. And I want to see what happens around this 50-second mark when the next dragon comes up. Because Command right now, he's got the Archangel Staff. He's doing a lot of damage. And in a fight, Darksided might be able to take this.
You say it's fine, but we said before the game it's going to be difficult for Karthus to scale into that late game position he wants to be in, and he's already being delayed. So
yeah,
yes, it's not hurting them right now, but that is going to be something that comes back to bite them in the 2 minute, 3 minutes that we're about to see in the Dragon contest, in the potential Baron deaths that we'll see. Order Academy are going to have way more control.
I guess also there's a question if Raven can get enabled in the fight, because Quake is the level up, has teleport to match, and he's just been dominating this lane alongside Alani. Cloud's now spawned in Order Academy. I don't think there's going to be contested. Maybe Darksided have their eyes on the mid lane prize.
Yeah, it's a correct call. Is you don't contest this, you can't contest it. Try and find something to trade. Mid lane turret is their goal. The question is, are they going to be able to do it before Order Academy gets there?
Ecotoxic just going to run away, and the minion wave will crash. So they don't even get that. Cloud Drake goes over to the side of Order Academy. That's their second Drake. Rift Herald spawn in the top side. Here we go.
Good use of Rift Herald.
Cameraman, up to the top side.
The turret's already dead.
We missed the charge. That's all right.
I'm okay with it. It was a good use of the Rift Herald. You put it where there was no one there. Quaku's not about to TP up there. Neither is Kai'Sa. So
I think he got buffed in 8.12 as well, didn't he?
Who, the Rift Herald?
Yeah. I think now he does a minimum of 1,500 damage.
I thought he already did too much damage, so I'm not quite happy about that.
Well, maybe that's right. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong there. But Rift Herald, the objective does open up the map a little bit more for Darksided. That 1,000 gold lead is only shadowed by an Infernal and a Cloud Drake, and Darksided's ever-growing ambition to get this mid lane turret.
I tell you what, this game does not feel like it's separated by just 1,000 gold. Order Academy have had a lot of control on the map, and they're just not taking enough. Darksided, credit to them, defensively have been making all the right choices. They're conceding little things and trying to trade across the map in that top tower, in the mid lane tower now as well. So the gold difference even below 1,000, the main difference being the dragons.
Frolic has to flash, just caught out.
I think he just prefers Hexmon.
Well, yeah, it's just uses like, hey guys, you know what? I'm just going to do this thing, let me do it. And now, mid lane turret, seems like Order Academy are going to take their share. It goes down and gold ever grows. Darksided just getting out-rotated in these tense situations.
We can't even look at the gold lead, though. The main lead's going to be the item difference in the champions. When does Karthus become so strong that Order Academy can't afford to team fight? That's a big question for both teams, is whenever you can pull that trigger and say, you know what, we just win every team fight from here on, you can just death fall down mid.
I guess the interaction is what I'm looking more at, T-Gun. For Darksided and Order Academy, there hasn't really been a 5-on-5 team fight yet. And for Styled, he has the Gwiznooz. He's now moving towards the Nash's Tooth, which is the AP build we've seen very popular. The Rabbit on third, and for Chungy, 2 items coming very soon with the Black Cleaver. So if Order Academy want to fight, you can expect the next 5 minutes. Well, no, who am I kidding? Everyone wants to fight in this patch. Who wins the fight, we'll find out. There you go.
We'll go back to Kai'Sa's AP build for a second here. It was quite necessary. If you look at Order Academy's team, they don't have any AP damage really besides the Kai'Sa and the residual AP damage from Trundle. So they needed some sort of mixed damage there. Smart build from him. There was even an argument to not go Gwinsu, to go something else, but he's done it. I would love to see something like a Zhonya's into Rabadons as his next 2 items to really solidify that.
Oh, bye Frolic. Remember, he didn't have the flash, so he didn't have the ult either. That's a pick, and that's a bottom lane turret.
That's potentially Baron, or at least a bait on it,
Well,
try and
so.
fight out the Karthus. Because that's the only real objective they can take from that. Otherwise, it's a pick, but it's an inconsequential pick.
But do you not fear contesting it when you have someone like Command available? He's level 13.
Absolutely. Absolutely, you do fear it.
Well,
but you need to try and force. You need to try and bait Command into contesting it, and then get the kill on him also. Try and snowball the advantage.
I guess because you don't have the front line of Darksided available, Frolic doesn't have flash, Raven doesn't have the ultimate, and he's going to have to back off, losing the turret, and Quaker's 2 levels up.
Quaker's been dominating him in that lane.
Which is not something you normally say.
There hasn't been a real time where he's had any time to just sort of relax. Quaker's been constantly pushing in, fighting him, brawling him, and yes, it's a tank fight, but just not getting any time to yourself, that's tough.
Wilson, why are you here? In his own red, almost dies. And that's going to be taken back over. Oh, resets. Command, walking at the speed of light. Style takes 1, not 2. But that was 1 hit from Command.
Quaku.
On the back line, the flank's there. They do get the 80 carry. Sorry, it was Wilson going down. 2-man knockup and Darksided in a choke. The Karthus is invulnerable, but how long till he dies? There he goes. Does he do any damage? Not anymore. Here comes the ultimate, and kaboom.
Just not enough damage from him yet.
Yeah.
Great flank by Quaku to start that fight. More credit to him. He's been earning it all game, but gets behind the whole team, gets a stun on a priority member in Xin Zhao.
This is really, really ambitious. Raven, what a block by Quaku. He will go down eventually with the Ignite there, but Frolic should be the trade-off. Alani comes back in with a pillar. Raven runs as well as Eco-Toxic. They'll get Quaku, but a big outplay from Order Academy.
These fights just aren't meaning anything, though. Yes, they're cool to watch. Don't get me wrong, I'm enjoying it.
Good.
But neither team is taking objectives off these. Order Academy, they knew they couldn't. They got the kill on the Xin Zhao, on the Karthus, and then they were in full escape mode. And Darksided was saying to themselves, we need to get something back. We need to get a kill, we need to get a trade. And it's only a 1-for-1 on top of that already, 2-for-0 loss, so not what Darksided want.
No, especially when now Styled has his 2 items and Chungy 2 items as well. These 280 carries, they're in the prime of their life right now, and nothing can stop them. A 4K gold lead, Dragon coming up soon, and Order Academy, although there's not much coming out of these fights, there's a team that's like having a lot of fun, plus is doing more and more damage consistently. Whereas Darksided, they're relying on Command, they're relying on Eco-Toxic, and even then Eco-Toxic has gone the Iceborne Gauntlet, so bit of a defensive start. Not sure what Darksided are going to achieve if they can contest this Dragon.
This is the first time we've seen the gold lead balloon out as well. Now, about 4,000, a second Infernal Drake here for Order Academy would be devastating for Darksided. You're the team that wants Infernal Drake. With Karthus, it's great, so they do need to contest this.
They bring it to the side. Raven first has the ultimate available. Call of the Forge God locked in, and it will go over, but Raven doesn't get the knockback. Wilson jumps in, and this could not be good for Darksided. Frolic will get the knockup. They turn it around. Darksided immediately doing damage. Alani runs for his life. He survives, and immediately the Karthus ult comes out. Who goes down? No one, as Style jumps back in. Chungy starts cleaning house, and the Kai'Sa is having the time of her life. 404, Darksided did not find the fight.
What a fight for Order Academy, though. Again, Quaku in the backline stops the Ornn in his tracks, doing the work that the team needs done, letting them win. And this should be Baron for Order Academy.
Oh, Chungy almost getting poked out. Look at the ambition on Eco-Toxic. 5 members start the Baron.
There's not a lot he can do here. He can throw all the Qs he wants, but at the end of the day, this Baron is going down to Order Academy.
It is. He's going to take the blue. That's all he can get. Eco-Toxic. Not even going near that, as would I. 7K gold lead, Order Academy. That's a big objective to separate the gap.
Xin Zhao on negative 200 gold there for a second. I love seeing that. Good old futures market if he's taking it. Order Academy now 7,000 gold in the lead. This is difficult for Darksided. I would say nigh insurmountable because you have that scaling team. You want to just, sort of glide into this 25-30 minute mark without a deficit.
And this is ultra late game now.
I wouldn't say ultra late game, but it's definitely late game.
Well, we're there anyway. Darksided just want to pick. That's all they want. 2 and 12 on the scoreboard, and 2 Infernal Drakes going over the team with the advantage. That's not what you like to see, but it has come from the back. I think Quaker's Poppy pick. I was expecting Mundo today. I was expecting maybe some Camille's. I didn't really see a Poppy in the future.
No, I don't think anyone did.
And 4-1 and 6, he's made it look flawless, pretty much.
He's done extremely well. There's nothing more to be said about it. I was questioning that early pick of the Sunfire Cape over Banner of Command and how the Auto Academy would deal with that. And they did well. They just made very proactive plays around the map, especially with Kwaku being the one there very early looking for flanks.
Double Banner of Command lane. Oh boy. Look at these minions hit. It's like getting run over an Osmodo truck. First one goes down, that's an inner. They fight here, T-Gun.
They have to fight. Darksided can't just sit there and continually bleed out objectives at this point. They have to be looking for fights, looking for the engages on priority targets. Try and get on top of that Lucian, on top of the Kai'Sa, and blow them up before anything happens. Because if they simply sit back, the bot tower is going to fall, the top tower is going to fall, and the gold lead is going to extend to 10,000 gold. And that's where games become, instead of you trying to make plays and trying to win the game, you simply have to sit there and hope the enemy makes a mistake.
Well, hoping they make a mistake. Instead, Darksided sit around and, as a 5-man unit, wait while Chungy sits on the bot side and Kwaku sits on the top side, the 1-3-1. It begins here and now. And delaying out the game, not something we normally see done. For Darksided, their first win, does it evade them again this week? I think Order Academy, they want to move themselves up. They took a win against Avant Academy. That is their only win. But it looks so strong, and here again we see why the strength of Order Academy shines through.
Again, Darksided just slowly bleeding out these objectives. Now you have Ezreal facing the Poppy in the side lane. That Poppy is going to get through that tower, especially if it's just Ezreal up there. So just bleeding it out slowly.
Blocked.
That's not the engage you want.
That's not what you want to see. And now caught out Raven. Deleted 4-man knockup. Doesn't change anything. Wilson sends them out of the circle so the damage can't continue. Kwaku comes in. 2 already dead. And the AD carry from Order Academy. That's right, AD carry is now 5-0-5. Bottom lane inhibitor goes down. Order Academy, they just go for the end.
They're going to look for it. I'm not sure they're going to get it. They should just be backing off. Now they're backing off. Do the safe thing. Recall. Spend all that gold. They're likely all sitting on a huge amount of gold at this point. What did they just take? 4 towers, a couple kills. Even the Braum, who's just spent all his money, he had about 2,000 on him. So go back, cash in all of that advantage you've just got, back in as a team, and finish the game.
Well, Chungy has just bought himself an Essence Reaver as the 3rd item, and this is when Lucian has the time of his life. He gets like 4 E's in a row, and just does not stop. Does not stop moving. So watch for Chungy to be like a mini cannon on the map. It's 3-1-8. He's had an exceptional game. Talk about focusing these mid laners. Chungy obviously stepped up to the plate.
Rabadon's also on Kai'Sa. They've just finished off some huge items. One thing I do want to point out, the stopwatch also on Kai'Sa. I love that they built that defensive item, even though they're in this point of the game where all they want to do is be aggressive. All they want to do is try and end the game as soon as possible. You do realize the threat of being caught and being tunneled on by the whole enemy team. The stopwatch is going to buy you that little bit of reprieve that it might need for your team to get active and fight.
Like, Styled has just been first into a fight sometimes, and by having that, it becomes a necessity for Order Academy to maybe start a fight with Styled and bring him onto the back line. He's 3 items strong, as you said, and now moving towards this top side inhibitor turret. And between lanes, the Darksided, they've got the Ornn in the bot side, but Raven, there's no one else there. He has to move.
He needs to be top now.
He's got TP, but he's 3 levels behind Kwaku. One W, by the way.
Unless Raven is up top before the next wave hits, that tower is going to be bullied out by Darksided. I mean, excuse me, by Order Academy. So, Frolic looking for it. That's just him saying, all right, I'm not going in.
No, we're gonna go backwards instead. Hex Flash cooldown. Too damn long. Darksided, it's just a long-winded defense. Chungy sits mid lane, and now they go in. Two-man knock-up from Frolic, and this will be the last defense if they can get it. Requiem comes in and missed again. Raven doesn't get a knock-up. He only finds one with a charge, and Wilson, the first target. He will be the first to go down if Chungy can snipe him, and he does with the help of Alani. Frolic there as well. Styled is cleaning house, and immediately Darksided lose 2 of their members, and that could just be it.
Raven didn't miss. All right, Kwaku, as great as he's been all game, got him again.
Steadfast presence again and again. Chungy just cannot be stopped, and I have to say, for Order Academy, they pick the fights when it matters, and they totally walk over Darksided. 2-17. They played faster, they won, and in the meta, you know exactly how important it is. Those last couple of picks for Chungy as a double clears it out for Order.
32 minutes. That's a very long game for today.
That was literally like a 1-hour game you just experienced.
No.
Yeah.
Well,
yes.
I mean, if you want to compare it to the games of old, you know, to the EOL CS games where they would stall
apart
forever.
from my stupid words, that was a game that Darksided were in control of at one slim point. Mm-hmm. It was when they got the response and when Wilson actually helped out the mid laner of Command.
They did very well stalling out the game and conceding little objectives and trading for so long.
Yep.
Until Order Academy turned it around the dragon, just kept forcing, and then on that Infernal Drake, the second one that they got, very, very important objective to contest from Darksided, mind you. They did have to contest that, but perhaps they should have just sent in the jungle, went for the 50-50 smite, instead of going for the team fight.
Wilson was aggressive early on the Xin Zhao. That cost him. That one individual kill, I think, cost him. Kwaku got ahead, and you saw what happened. There was a 3-level gap at the end of that game. It was all because of that one moment at 4 minutes.
I wouldn't put it all on that. We did see them stall out that top lane for quite a while, but eventually, yes, Kwaku did take control of that 1v1 matchup.
Yes.
And I want to just say, like, every Ornn ultimate in team fights, every time someone was looking to be aggressive, Kwaku was there. Every time they were initiating quite early on, Kwaku was the one on the flank, going in and initiating for his team. So really, really big credit to him on that poppy.
Well, if you want Kwaku, he'll always be there for you. Game number 2 is coming up shortly, so we're going to have a 5-minute break. Then more OCS action will fall upon you. And welcome back to the OCS for week number 6, where we just saw Order Academy take out the first game. And in what a fashion they took it out, Tegan.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, the final scoreline didn't represent the game. Darksider were in that for I want to say, at least 75% of the game. They had a good shot at winning. And then the door just closed.
Well, but for Order Academy, the door opens again. They're 2-4, and Darksider are going to have to catch up in the upcoming weeks. For this next series, though, for this next game, QUT and Crimson Gaming. Now, this is a good matchup because both of these teams are on the list of teams that I think will adapt really well to this meta.
I will give you credit with Crimson. I think they're going to adapt to it. They put a lot of praise through Willaris. They play a lot through him, so giving him even more resources is going to be beneficial. QUT, however, I think they are a 5-man unit. They win through their superior decision-making as a team. Changing the meta completely to something that might be more individualized, might have player skills shine through a lot more and more like focus on perhaps the AD and Feint or the mid and unspecialized, that might actually hinder them a little bit.
Okay, so maybe that individual talent, you know, could not be as comparable as Crimson Gaming, but when it gets to that macro stage, I mean, QUT, you can never count them out. They're 4-1 so far, and Crimson Gaming, yes, they're 3-2, but they've versed both Intuition and Chiefs Academy. QUT, their one loss is to Chiefs Academy. So these teams, they're pretty neck and neck despite the standings.
That's spot on. I would say Crimson have had probably the hardest opening few games out of anyone. And they've looked strong through them. Yes, they've dropped games to, like you said, Chiefs Academy and Intuition. But you have to expect they've looked through those games, found the weaknesses that were exploited, and tried to shore those up.
Well, let's take a first look at Crimson Gaming, because for Crimson, it'll be again about Willaris in the mid lane, but that's something we'll talk about in-game. For Crimson, this is a squad that's been together for so long. So when the meta shifts, and when it puts players in this uncomfortable position, the teams that have that experience together, not just in the league, but together, those are the teams that usually come out with a bang.
Especially, like you said, when they have a lot of experience together, they sort of adapt as a team. And it's a lot better to adapt as a team than have one person be suited to the meta and 4 people not really understand it and be tentative. Even if your mid, especially in this meta, is great and really, you know, accepting of the changes, if your jungle doesn't want to change, if your ADC doesn't want to change, then you're just going to go back to the old standard.
The AD carry has to change here. Crimson Gaming's AD carry reigning. He loves Cogmore. He loves very suitable AD carries for old metas. But today we're going to be asking the question, can he change? Can reigning move away and move towards what the meta dictates?
Yeah. Again, I feel like you just hate Cogmore at this point, and he loves it.
Can I just clear some things up on the OPL? Like, they are right. Like, Cogmore's okay. But there are just so many other good picks out there. Yeah. Even if Yasuo's banned, I may not be a color caster, ladies and gentlemen, but Cogmore at the moment, you know, he's a Cathian surprise, right? That's what Cogmore is at the moment. What do you want Cogmore for? He will die and run into a team. That's what Cogmore's for at the moment. An explosion, right? At the moment, there are so many better AD carries. Let me just say that. I'm done with Cogmore. I'm done.
You're underselling him. But you are right. There are more AD carries, just like Vladimir. Great AD carry right now. Great win rate in LCK as AD carry.
Great AD carry, yeah.
So very, very likely that you can pick that up as well. Or if you want something that runs into the enemy and dies and is still effective, give him Karthus.
Karthus?
Because if you die as Karthus, you're still effective.
Take a step back. In AD carry, I've seen Mord AD carry. Mordekaiser's fine.
Yep.
You can run him in the mid lane with a Shyvana jungle. I've been doing that a bit in solo queue, and you just go to Dragon at 5 minutes when you have ult.
It's possible. I'm not sure that that's a relevant amount of experience.
Imagine bringing an Infernal Drake to the mid lane at like 6-7 minutes in the game, and you're like, there's a Dragon in my lane, and it's doing like 1 billion bits of damage. That's how you get first turret blood.
That, or you pick something that can take Banner really early and play through them.
I think we've got a lot of theories, but we are going to move into our next game. Crimson Gaming, QT Tigers. These teams are neck and neck, not in standings, but in skill. Remember that. And what I have written down here, I will tell you all at home. QUT Tigers love crazy stuff. I did not write the word is not stuff, but they love crazy stuff. They're a team that rushed Baron at 20 minutes.
Yeah,
so if any team wants to play fast, it's them.
They set on the Baron for, you know, 6-7 attempts until it worked, right? So
yep.
They're definitely willing to try those weird things. Banning Yi, so we saw it the first game as well. Teams just not wanting to either play against or as that Tariq combo.
I just want to point out as well, could you imagine if Swaith was back in the OCS?
Yeah.
Swaith belongs, well, no, he belongs in the OPL, but he'd be welcomed back like a hero right now, the Yi. Can't wait to watch OPL tomorrow.
Yeah, he can play. I was about to say he can play it in the OPL.
I forgot. There's also OPL. There's also OPL.
He didn't disappear.
I'll be looking for that tomorrow. Anyway, we're in the OCS right now. Hey, Alistar's been banned off, so that's an adaptation to the last game, despite Darksider not picking up the win.
The weirdest ban so far to me is Renekton. Yes, Sirius, he's an old guard player, just
They must
like...
think they're going up against Frogodog.
Perhaps. What I was saying is Sirius, he is one of those older players that does have that experience on the champion and knows how it works, so you can ban it out and remove it from him, but it's definitely not one of the stronger champions right now, so interesting that they banned it. Perhaps they have something that they think gets countered by it and they want to play that.
Maybe, because Aurelia's been banned away, the Lucian picked up, and Mundo first pick, so QUT looks like they're a step ahead. The Lucian has high priority. I'll start with that though, Tiga.
Like we saw it last game. It can go anywhere it wants. It can go bot, it can go middle. It could even go top in this situation.
Yeah.
Yet to be seen. Obviously, they're not going to send an AP carry top because Mundo's going to eat him alive. I do want to see... I kind of just want to see it top now. Because that's a matchup where if the Lucian gets ahead and starts bullying that Mundo is going to have a horrible time. Yet to be seen, though, obviously. It can still go anywhere else. Just like the Morgana's been picked. That can go bot, that can go mid.
That's a very different priority, though. Remember, it was the final ban on the side of... it wasn't Darksided last game, but it was a final ban. And now it's been picked up in the second rotation by Crimson Gaming.
It's again comes back to flexibility. Any champion that's a flex pick always seems to be trending to higher priority than champions that are just straight up good.
Yeah, there we go. It's the Wrath locked in. Now, tell me, is that a flex? Yes, anything's a flex.
Yeah, bold prediction, no. But I've been wrong before.
Yeah.
It is a champion that Will Ash has played before, especially in the solo queue. I see it a lot from him, so that could definitely be the mid champion that he wants. Just strange to me that they pick it so openly. Mord as well.
No. No. It's not strange anymore.
Is this going to be the Mord plus a supportive jungler?
Well, potentially. Is it going to be the Mord plus an aggressive jungler?
Or it could even just go bot, and you put the Ezreal mid because Ezreal's never going to get caught by the Zera.
As one thing that was said very smartly from Papa Smithy over the weekend. Or what
he says.
What day is it?
Everything he says is
smart.
but
but this one was extra smart. At the moment, there's no point predicting because everything's out of the meta, or in the meta. Shyvana's banned away. Now, this is the combination I was talking about.
Yeah, you were saying you just get that strong Shyvana Mordekaiser from Go Take Dragon.
Queue, yeah.
So, gold solo queue shining through.
Gold, by the way. Shyvana taking off the board on as well. Let's see how this matches because it's still that there's flex from both sides. Doesn't mean that Morgana's going in support position. The Skarner, however, taken away from Scam Diggity.
So, what we have to try and ascertain from the bans is the bans sort of lead where the picks are right now. That's all we can really say is the Skarner ban means they're trying to get some sort of jungle matchup happening. Perhaps that is Jungle Mundo. And then you take it and get the extra XP out of mid.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to predict.
What a shame.
Nunu also banned. I'm not sure what Nunu mid matchup would still be effective right now.
It's still Blood Boil on Mordekaiser who has early damage.
It's still great.
He's spinning Shield of Debris like going to a wreckage. I mean, that does a lot of damage.
You're still leaving things like Trundle up.
Yep.
Trundle would be an insane pick for Crimson right now, given you have the Mundo available. Sorry. Leona, big fan. Big fan of Leona.
Big fan?
Big fan of the pick.
I used to love Leona.
Anything that's aggressive, I love it. Especially now with the sort of falling out of supportive champions. You're not going to see the Nami, the Lulu down in bot lane as often. So, especially if that's a Morgana bot lane, Leona into Morgana, I actually favor the Leona, even though you can Black Shield out abilities, because you can only Black Shield one person. Leona's generally going to be next to both.
This is a crowd favorite from Scam Diggity. The man himself loved Lee Sin. It's one of his best champions, and it's good to see the return for Crimson Gaming's jungler.
I think Lee's a great champion, but it's not what you would expect in 8-11, right? It's not something we're seeing picked any sort of widespread way. It's not like that champion you can take and babysit the mid lane while your mid lane goes off and gets your jungle. So sort of back towards the old standard by Crimson. But again, they have a Xerath, so you can't really say it's standard.
I think that's the key word, standard, until this happens. Fiddlesticks. Now, that must be a Mundo. Hang on.
No, it's got to be Fiddle Jungle? Is it
have we got jungle? A role swap as well? Because Tech has got Smite.
I'm going to wait till it's all locked in. It's official at 20 seconds.
Can I put my hand in the air and ask a question? So
I don't think you have to
make
put
a
your hand
statement.
up.
I have to. Flick was a top laner. Flick was a very good top laner. I don't know what's happening there. Is that a Leona mid?
Oh, maybe it is the supportive mid and then the jungle taking all the farm.
So Crimson have gone pretty standard, right? Like, I mean, even there's some strange picks in the Xerath and maybe Lucian coming in, but that's pretty standard, right? That side. This is not standard.
This is difficult to sort of speak about, but I'm going to try my best. Exhaust Ignite on the Leona.
Yeah.
You're fully expecting that champion in mid lane to babysit the lane while that Mordekaiser goes around, picks up the farm, comes back, and then they share the experience. Yeah. They get the shared gold out of the mid lane as well. So this Mordekaiser, if they do not punish on the side of Crimson Gaming, if they do not punish this strategy, is going to end up with something like 200 CS at 15 minutes.
I mean, poor graphics designer, you know, like was expecting Flick to go jungler. Now Tekka is actually just taking his role, and this is going to be an interesting game. Last game was so standard from both sides, and Crimson Gaming have gone to comfort, but still playing the solid roles. Where QUT Tigers, I said, they are explosive. They jump onto Summoner's Rift up to the 20-minute mark and make impact. And that's what they've done here with this competition. Sanakul away from the Nami support onto the Fiddlesticks. And I am so glad, ladies and gentlemen, my first competitive game, casting Fiddlesticks, my favorite champion, the only champion that matters.
It's hard to really get on the same level. I love Fiddlesticks, don't get me wrong. I think it's a great support pick.
If there's a but here, Keegan, I'm not with you.
But Morgana's Black Shield shuts down a lot of his utility if she's able to guess who is going on.
Not if you're the best Fiddlesticks in the world. QUT taking on Crimson Gaming. Game number 2, and it's gotten spicy. This is at a habanero level.
30 seconds.
Let's see if we can get up there, up the Scoville rating.
What needs to happen in this game? Let's try and go over it.
Please tell me.
Unspecialized Leona mid. He needs to stop the Xerath from pushing in, and the reason this supportive mid-aggressive jungler sort of taking the farm works is if you can stop the enemy mid from shoving in the wave quickly and then harassing you on camps. Xerath is great at shoving waves in. He's probably one of the better mid-champions you can pick to sort of stop this strategy from working, so it's going to be very difficult for Unspecialized to hold up the Xerath. That being said, Ignite Exhaust on Leona versus Teleport on Xerath. If Leona gets on that Xerath, he's a very, very dead man.
I think for Leona, this is going to be a make or break. This is such a, I guess, a risky composition from QUT. But then again, it's not. It's standard that it's not standard. See if Scam Diggity can get into that lane, maybe shut down the mid laner. This is the response that people have been making, is if the mid laner has no say whatsoever in the lane, even a defensive one like this, then it's all over Red Rover.
The whole goal is to abuse the fact that you don't really have a jungler on the other team. Invade the camps. Make sure that you take advantage of the fact that lanes aren't getting ganks. You know, that bot lane isn't really going to receive a gank. Flick also going to be left on his own. That's what needs to happen.
That's an early flash from both Sanakul and Feint. That is not a good start whatsoever.
That's exactly what Crimson need to be doing, though.
Oh, come on, Tekka.
Bring that Lee Sin in early. That level 2 gank bot gets double flash. Now he has control of the bot side. He's going to get the bot side blue as well. QT making the correct adaptation, going up to the top side. They'll look to take the crab and then the blue buff as well. But Crimson already showing they do understand what's going on.
Unspecialized goes up with Tekka, gets the Scuttle Crab. Tekka's level 3. And this is what you do. Unspecialized has 0 CS. Willaris is just like, boys, I'd appreciate it, but he can safely farm. I guess this is the undoing, if there is one. Oh, he got it, thankfully.
It's an interesting choice to go coin over Relic Shield on the Leona's side.
Yeah.
There has to be something about you know, why you're doing it. Yes, you're getting gold off every creep.
Is it the safety of maybe avoiding Willaris? Because you know that he's going to be able to put out some poke?
Possibly, but I would still prefer the Relic Shield there personally because you get a bit more sustain as well. Let's go back to the summoner choices for a second here. Not taking Flash on Leona, taking the Exhaust instead or the Ignite, whichever one you prefer instead of the Flash, is an interesting choice because it means engaging on Xerath is that much harder. The Xerath Q range is going to pretty much always be longer than the Leona Zenith Blade range. So a little bit more difficult for them, but if they do manage to get the engage, the benefit is there.
Well, for Tekka, I'm curious as to what he's leveling here because it's always a W inside. If Mr. Observer could click on Tekka there, I want to see what's actually being leveled up Because I think for the Mordekaiser mid, it's going to be super important. Now the Vine lands, bans and raining. Damage goes in, Sana kill.
He gets the fear off before the Black Shield.
But what does it all mean, T-Gun?
In bot lane, especially this bot lane, it's all about, do you Black Shield that fear? Because that's a big amount of utility coming out of the Fiddlesticks is the fear. If it gets Black Shielded, he's not as effective as you're going to want him to be, even though he is probably going to max his Crow in E.
Okay, so Valaris gets blue. I'm still focusing on the mid lane. There's going to be nowhere else I'm going. Tekka is at 45 CS. And so far, Scam Diggity has not come into this mid lane, nor has he stepped anywhere apart from the bot side.
He started off well, but he needs to keep that pace.
Yep.
He needs to still just be aggressive in the side lanes. Punish the Mundo. Punish the Ezreal Fiddle again. Revisit the lane where you burnt the double flash, because that's a diveable lane down bot lane. Fiddlesticks, great champion to play, very fun.
Oh no.
Falls apart again.
Flick is so low. Sonic Wave miss, flash away. Good impact from Flick. He'll throw one back. Flick.
Ooh.
Series only just survives due to the passive, but Flick, that was good. That was really nice.
He's playing with fire, turning around for that Q
Oh, he's
there.
back. Why are you back? Flick! I just gave you praise, and Scam Diggity takes it away.
There's nothing I can say about that.
Why?
Scam Diggity gets a kill. He was being aggressive. He was looking to stop Flick's base. And he did. He stopped Flick's base. He sent him back to base by killing him. So, again, Scam Diggity getting that advantage that he needs. He's now, Flick has made it even harder for Tekka and Unspecialized in mid, because Scam Diggity, with the kill goal, can now be aggressive through the jungle even more than he was. And if he can start taking away camps from Tekka, there's less viability of this strategy.
Because at the moment, there's been a two-man unit from this mid lane, and Unspecialized just walks everywhere with Tekka. Tegan, I was going to ask you, because Shyvana was banned, I think we saw a Nunu ban as well. What is the benefit of going Mordekaiser rather than something aggressive? You know, maybe that could benefit off of taking a full mid lane.
Well, it's a tough question to ask. It's really, he's probably more comfortable on Mordekaiser. It's also the Leona's going to end up with a lot more experience.
I mean, Mordekaiser's part of the meta. Like, he's part of that mid lane interaction. So it's not totally unspecialized, but
I mean, you say part of the meta, but Tekka's the jungler, right? So it's not like he's been playing mid and adapted to this.
well, I mean, to be honest, to be fair, I'm not sure what Tekka did in the past, but Flick was a top laner. So I think it's more about Flick wanting to go back home. So it's interesting. I think now Flick down almost 20 CS. That's going to be a big win condition there. The Scam Diggity moves up. He gets first blood. And Tekka still just absorbing the farm. Where does this game go next?
Like I said, Tekka, he's going to look to just power farm console. Get to that 200 CS at 15-minute mark. Scam Diggity with the kill, with the extra ability to be aggressive now, he's going to be counter-jungling on. He wants to stop that Mordekaiser from snowballing, keep him just to that lane CS, keep him in that lane and isolate him. Valaris, on the other hand, is doing an amazing job at just keeping them both busy, keeping him in the mid lane and ensuring they can't really roam as much as they want to.
Oh, because now poking his head in his series, level 6, and Tekka might be caught out here. Wrap shut. Won't come through, and we're back to dual jungling.
I'm not even sure I would have taken...
He clears that so quick, though.
Yeah, I'm not even sure I would have taken Sirius and Willaris in that fight. If Unspecialized gets on Willaris, he's going to die. So, kind of glad it didn't happen.
Tekka's huge. He's got Runic Echoes. I think he's had that for a couple of minutes. And as soon as he goes back, what is it, Luden's Echo? No, sorry, that's just silly. What am I talking about? We go to Morellonomicon first.
Oh, again, it's so hard to predict because you want that utility, you want him to be aggressive and have that damage, but at the same time, he is going to need to be durable throughout fights. It's not like he has a support that's going to help him persist through fights. Leona's going to want to go in as deep, if not deeper, and try and lay down all of that CC. Hard to really say.
Just clears wave so fast. I guess I just haven't seen this combo as of yet. The Leona, Mordekaiser getting ambitious, getting creative. For Crimson Gaming, they have other ideas, and they get the first Infernal Drake. So objective control is there. They find themselves about 1,000 gold up. You have a Mordekaiser with 100 CS at 8 minutes, so there's always that in the back of your mind. Pushing forward.
Scam Diggity if he found him.
Unspecialized, and guess who's coming? It's the Mordekaiser who stops Hit Ward. TP cancelled. And a very good cancel at that from Sirius.
It was a good force by QT. They forced that TP. by having the Leona and Mordekaiser down there. If Series doesn't TP, QT are going to take that fight and win it quite easily.
Unspecialized walks into the stun. Willaris actually maintained a bit of his CS. So at 80 CS, at the moment for QUT, if they don't start getting things with this Mordekaiser, then I feel like this could have just been a waste.
I wouldn't go that far, but I would say Crimson are definitely playing well against it. Scam Diggity aggressive in the side lanes, taking objectives. Willaris clearing that mid lane very, very quickly, and also sort of punishing them as they come back in, doing a little bit of damage and you know, sort of stalling them out. So Crimson so adapting quick. Well.
It's just so quick. Tekka's level 9, by the way. Scam Diggity's level 6. There's the bonus there. Who would ever thought Mordekaiser? I mean, he literally came into lane half a second later. It's gone. So there's that.
I don't think it's fair, by the way, to compare Tekka and Scam Diggity here.
Okay.
One is getting a lot more resources.
Well, speak of resources, what has Flick gotten so far? A cleaver to the face! Burning agony there for Series. Flick takes the 1v1.
What a turnaround for Flick. After he gets dove and gives away the first blood, comes back and gets the solo kill, taking it down Series there. Great play by him, keeping close, landing the cleavers, alleviating a little bit of pressure off the map, and now that top side is going to be a lot easier for Tekka and Unspecialized to roam around it.
Top side and bot side, Raining and Vans are slowly choking out this lane. Raining has just hit 100 CS, teleport used by Phaeton. Raining will have his up shortly. That'll go back. That'll probably be a Essence Reaver start by the looks of it from Raining. And I think QT, they're putting all their eggs into the basket of mid lane. So yes, he's ahead, but let's see if they can now start going for that turret. Fiddlesticks is in the mid lane. There he is. But now he's gone. Okay, that was exciting.
He's going to hang around here. If they see multiple people, he will hang around. And it looks like Crimson are answering, and now Sanakill opts to finish the recall. Feels a bit wasteful. You saw him roam up, look for that ultimate, look to get active. And Crimson, they were running in there. They were prepared to fight with the Xerath, with the Cho'Gath. Even Scam Diggity was hanging out in his red side. So there was a potential fight there brewing, and Sanakill just decides, you know what, not right now.
Not right now, but still there's time on the clock right there. Only 2 kills going down. A small kill game once again, Tegan.
Small kill, but there's still been a lot of action. Mordekaiser are at 155 CS at 11 minutes. So there's been a lot going on. It's been more objective control than fighting and killing.
Well, I think it'll get to the point where it all just explodes. Like, it's tension building. It's like meeting someone or going on a first date. All that tension builds up, then you meet them, and you're either like, oh, that sucked, or oh, that was great.
I'm going to have to take your word on that.
Oh, good. Come on, T. You've been on a first date before, mate.
Yeah, I mean, 9 and a bit years ago.
Back when you were 20. I'm sorry, I don't know how old you are now. Been at 50 till Dragon, moving away from that subject before I get fired. QUT, their bottom side is held out, but still that CS discrepancy. Now moving towards that Dragon. First one was Infernal. Crimson Gaming got it, no contestation whatsoever. But triple TP on the map. So Crimson will be able to match that nicely.
We haven't seen anything come of Leona using Exhaust and Ignite yet. I don't think he's even casted either of them. So while he's had them both available, it just hasn't happened. I want to see him being more aggressive. Look for long-range ultimates on Willaris. Force a flash, force some sort of response instead of just sort of being there. Because right now, that's all he's done. He's just been there on the map with Tekka.
Yep. Slow pace. And I'm not sure that I expected this here today. I've come into today looking for fiestas and explosions after explosions. And immediately I've gotten a composition that is just so strange from QT, but at the moment it just feels so coordinated. Sanakill, he'll dodge straight past that one, was expecting a lot more. But QT, I guess their bottom lane's holding out. Their top lane now as well for Flick has won the 1v1 and has gotten the Sunfire Cape. We saw what happened when a solo laner got Sunfire Cape last game. I mean, arguably different top laners, but still.
Again, it's that question of, do you prefer the dueling power, the fighting power, or do you prefer the utility that comes out of Banner or Command? And it seems like people are opting more and more to go for the Sunfire Cape, go for the dueling power, and I can't fault Flick for it. He did really well in the 1v1 beforehand against Sirius. It's quite likely that they just end up in that 1v1 again. I can't think Scam Diggity is going to spend a whole lot of his time up there. because that's where Tekka and Unspecialized are more likely to roam as well.
Scam is just farming at the moment. That's all he's concerned about, is keeping up to a nice pace, but is it the right outlook, considering what's happening on the rest of the map?
I feel like no. Tekka's about to hit 200 CS
Yeah.
at about 14 minutes, so pretty good pace for him.
8.11, by the way.
Everyone was talking about that good old 10 CS per minute. He's went for the almost 20. So quick pace from him.
But here we go.
Dragon.
So this will go over to Tekka. Raining, meanwhile, on the bottom side. That's a turnaround from Crimson Gaming, and immediately this Dragon becomes risky. Didn't see how that happened, but Tekka running for his life as Flick comes in for moral support. Unspecialized going to be the front line, and this Dragon could just be taken away.
Feint dying down in bot lane really sold it.
Oh, no!
That's alright, it wasn't a full reset.
No, but what a way, like, Series doesn't get a stack. What's the point?
It's the point to get the buff from the Dragon.
Yeah, I guess. Second best, I guess. Crimson Gaming got another Dragon. And 2K gold lead in the works.
So what set up the Dragon, what it means? It looked like Feint got a little too aggressive down there. His team's already doing something on the map. They're trying to take the Dragons. He needs to respect that, needs to back off and let them do their thing. Now,
oh, the Crow Storm! Sardakill finally been waiting for this one, but that's what happens when Fiddlesticks goes in. He dies. QUT, they've already lost their support, and a true shot barrage comes close. But Crimson Gaming pick up another one.
QT just not firing together there. Sardakill in really aggressively. His team not quite there in time, and he gets punished by Crimson. Laris and Scam Diggity answer very quickly, blow up the Fiddlesticks. Like I said, a stiff breeze is going to fold him over, and it does so.
Well, you got a Mordekaiser at 210 CS who hasn't done anything on the map apart from farm. But when it comes to farming, when it comes to maybe getting to those fights in 5 minutes, Crimson Gaming feel like they're going to be all over this. Polaris is low, but he's able to wave clear, and that's why there's only half health in this turret. You'd expect it to be down by now. This Wrath pick has been the forefront of Crimson Gaming.
It's so difficult to push through a Xerath. I can only think of something like Anivia sort of being the same sort of thing where you just can't push through it and it clears waves. So great answer from Crimson to this sort of strange strategy of the Mordekaiser Leona pick from QT.
But you see Raining, the respect is there. He's got a QSS at his second item. Just before going to anything else, Raining decided, yes, with this comp, I don't want to get feared, I don't want to get locked down. Respect again.
I love the respect, but I, as a support main, am a little offended that he doesn't believe in the Black Shield from Morgana. You know, that hurts a little bit.
Look, I think honestly, you know, as someone who's flexed between the two, I get that. You know, your Black Shields aren't always going to be up. They're not always going to be on point, even though it's a click and target ability.
Back to mid lane and just Walaris keeping this tower up. You like with this sort of strategy, with the jungle mid support pick, you want that priority through mid, and the way to generate priority is taking the tower, and they just can't do it.
The priority is it going to transfer into this Rift Herald because it's been pulled back by Crimson, and the pick's already there. Walaris, is he going to go for the Arcane Barrage? Rift Herald is in a weird place right now, so he'll just pull back before
he's going to go home soon.
Yep, aggro's going to reset. Crimson Gaming trying to make a play here, but QT are moving up.
We know QT are persistent on objectives. They're going to sit here as long as it takes.
Okay, Barrage now dropping down on Specialized seems to be the target, but Sardakill on the backside is forfeited out, and Crimson starting to collapse in. That last one misses. Feint now the new target is Flick. It's getting pretty tanky there. QUT, they managed to survive, but still a bit of a disadvantage in health bars.
One thing we still haven't seen is Unspecialized get active. He hasn't been in the backline. He hasn't dove in.
Yep.
I still don't think he's used a summoner this game. So until Unspecialized can really become the engage that his team needs, Crimson are going to be able to poke them down with the Xerath, sort of stall out fights and then take objectives off the back of it.
It's exactly what you said before the game started, that for QUT, do they have the individual lane strength? And it was like, no, they don't really. When this game and their team comp doesn't really rely on that. It relies on them surviving, them playing the macro. But Crimson Gaming, because of their individual strengths, have been able to hold out. You got a Xerath who's almost maintained Tekka, and pretty much has. Onto his second item, you got a Lucian who's won bot side. And Series, although he lost the solo kill, he originally set up the first one for Scam Diggity.
It feels like the credit has to all go to Walaris. He's been impressive to say the least in this mid lane. Pretty much controlling two members of QUT in Tekka and Unspecialized. And again, it all comes back to the choice to not take Flash on the Leona. That Xerath, I guarantee, he hasn't felt threatened at all. There has never been a point in that lane where he has been in any sort of stress. He hasn't had to just back off and concede anything. He's just been pushing pretty freely, happily from huge range, obviously, clearing from about a screen away. And QUT, unable to take the mid tower, means they can't get active on the map with the Leona, with the Mordecai.
But always, Willaris is always that I guess, 2 Leona distance for Zenith play. He's always playing it super safe. He'll let the wave crash into him. And now because he's got that confidence with the 200 CS and Luden's Echo moving into, I don't know at this point what we're going to see. Unspecialized, the QT mid laner hasn't done their job, but has the bot side. Willaris the target. The call comes in and Sarnakill does not survive. A 1-for-1 trade as Willaris finally goes down. Can they get scammed? He's on the run. Tekka finds a pick. Willaris looking to do something and oh boy, Willaris' ghost helps out the enemy.
We finally see the engage we've been waiting for. Sarnakill gets in, decides enough is enough. Unspecialized gets on the back line. They get both turrets mid. Even if Flick dies here, which he shouldn't, it's still a win for QUT.
Yeah, he's already popped the ultimate. Crimson Gaming, sorry, I'm just tilted by Willaris' gamer tag being there. They'll go mid and QUT finally switch on. Willaris' ghost, the betrayer, is going to help them get inhibitor turret.
Willaris absolute turncoat right now. QUT 3 turrets, but Series is collapsing.
Well, finally, can they get something back? Series, the first target, going to be onto that Mordekaiser without shielding. He goes down. Crimson Gaming get a response, but look at what it cost. QUT just broke down the 3 mid turrets.
That should be Dragon for Crimson. It looks like they're treading towards Baron, and I find that a little too risky at this point. It's only one person, it's only Tekka. Yes, he's the focus. Yes, he has 260 CS. But I'm not sure they can afford to go for this Baron here.
Well, the Rift Herald's going to be channeled and maybe they can get mid-turret, but they start at T-Gun. This is what you'd expect from QUT. But Crimson Gaming are like, no, it's our turn.
The Rift Herald in mid is buying them a lot of time here. Still not sure. It's still 5k health on it. QUT are going to get the fight.
That's a great solar flare, though, from Unspecialized. Can QUT get anything out of it? Fate in the backside. The Morgana ultimate used, but Vance gets nothing from it. He could be the first target. Fiddlesticks goes front row and center, but Crimson Gaming secure it. Flick, Raining, going for each other. Raining gets one, and Unspecialized, remember, has no resources. Sonic will be taken out off the side, and Crimson Gaming, they've already picked 2. They've got the Baron, and Leona is going to go homeowner. There we go, 3 picks for QUT.
What a decisive Baron call by Crimson. They got on it quickly. Even while I was hesitant, they were not. All committed to it very quickly. Still, a little sketchy, but they take it down and then take a fight on the back of it. I said I was worried that Tekka, just, while he was important, wasn't that important, but tell you what, without Tekka, QUT looked like they couldn't have won that fight no matter what happened.
I think for Crimson Gaming, that was just a play and a half. Fate has been caught out here. The ultimate from Willaris lands. They get the next one, and Tekka, he might get the dragon. No, he doesn't. Scam Diggity does, and he loses his life too. So this is all going wrong for QUT.
Yeah, this is spiraling out of control quite quickly. We were saying before, we expected these games to explode. We expected them to be fiestas, to just go out of control quickly, and it's happened slowly. Don't get me wrong, it's been a slow build up to it.
In the wrong,
but right now,
on the wrong team.
Well, I mean, that's a perspective issue.
Well, I think if you'd expect this game to go out of control, you'd say that it would be from QUT's side. And that mid-turret push, that was going out of control.
Yeah, that was a catalyst for QUT, getting 3 turrets there. Just bit off a little bit too much. Tekka gets caught out, and they've just pretty much been punished excessively for it.
Burning Agony getting help tick down, but Flick just does not die at this point in time. Series out of position, but not enough. Flick goes mid, and bottom lane turret just going to be given up. Crimson Gaming, their gold lead starting to show as they push up the bottom side.
I tell you what, Crimson are going to get an inhib here most likely, but I like the idea from QUT to trade the inhibs.
But who's going to die in the response? It's already Unspecialized. The mid laner without resources. Sarnakill, the Fiddlesticks, goes back to skeletorial position as he sits in the farm, lets the bottom lane inhib go down, and Crimson Gaming, they played more standard and they said, this is fun.
Crimson might look to end here. That was 2 great catches, people just not paying enough respect, and now Crimson have a very real chance to end the game right here, right now.
Well, they're running up to the first inhibitor turret, and it has just exploded as QUT, they walk forward only to get dismantled at the seams. Tekka's there, and suddenly Tekka's not there as Raining takes him down, and this is now going to be the last ultimate potentially. Sarnakill delays it a little bit, but what else does he get? Scam Diggity not running in, and now only the Nexus lands as QUT. It was close, it was crazy, but unfortunately Crimson Gaming, they read it too well.
I tell you what, QT gave us what we wanted to see. We wanted to see the new meta. We wanted to see the jungle support mid and have the carry in the jungle role and be aggressive. And I'm happy they did it, but the execution, the choices that they made just didn't seem to pan out how they would have wanted it to.
The Mordekaiser mid, sorry, the Mordekaiser jungle, it was first
He's
initially.
Mid. It's fine.
Whatever.
It's fine.
It was the role swap, right? So Tekka moves to jungle, Flick moves to the top side of the map, and it was like, okay, good. This is initiative. This is what we asked to see. But then Unspecialized, by sacrificing those resources, initially Mordekaiser gets ahead. That's the main. That's what you want. But when you have a Xerath who can match that and pretty much go head to head to a degree, you kind of lose part of that power.
All right, Xerath is a great pick into this, I agree, but it's just there was no threat on him. If they had threat to kill him, if Leon had Flash, I keep coming back to this and I feel like I'm beating a dead horse right now, but if she had Flash, if there was any threat on that Xerath to die, he can't clear the wave. He can't sit back, he can't just throw the abilities from long range and happily get into this mid-game where Crimson just sort of excelled and started making better decisions.
If he had Flash. I agree. No,
the title of the game.
When did we see those summoners in mid lane?
When they were diving towards the second tier in mid.
But that was 15, 20. Like you have an exhaust, you have an ignite. And
that was basically late game.
It was late game. It was new late game, and that's the issue with what we saw in the mid lane is that the summoners were not used. To a point of when it was like, okay, it's too late. One great good mid push. For some reason I said those words twice. One good mid push changed it.
It was looking like it was great by QT as well. 3 towers, very happy, very big objective taken. But then Tekka gets caught on the way out. And that's Crimson's Baron. And it felt like the game, once Crimson got that Baron, they were just so effective at pushing, at taking even more off that. Whereas instead, like QT, after they lost Tekka on that escape, they looked lost.
They did. They looked lost, and for QUT, that was a close call, but it is still going to be a win going over to Crimson Gaming, outplaying and out-surviving. We are going to go to a 5-minute break, however, and when we return, OCS Game 3 coming up. welcome back to the OCS, where the games are spicy, but sometimes we're spicier, I don't know. Hysterics, this is T-Gun, and I'm now setting you up for Game 3 after what was QUT's close call there, T-Gun.
Yes, it's our first sort of representation of this new meta. We saw the double jungle sort of strategy, I guess. We saw the weird supports coming out in Fiddlesticks. They just weren't able to put it all together, and Crimson take away the victory with a much more standard setup.
At the start of Willaris, we saw, yeah, that's a dangerous Zerath. And then at the end, we said, yeah, that's a dangerous Zerath. But in game number 3, we now have an opportunity to explore another team who's been climbing up, and that's in Emprox.
I would say not even climbing up. They're sitting up the top. They're 4-1. They're quite comfortable.
Still climbing. I mean, 4-1. You know, they had the chance to be flawless here. I mean, Emprox, they took a loss against Mammoth, who Mammoth have some similar players who are explosive as well.
I would say for Emprox, this is a great meta for them. They place a lot of resources in their mid laner and Chaz, and mid lane we've seen already that they're getting even more resources now.
Yep.
They get everything they want and more. So if they can do that for Chaz, if they can just give him even more resources, I can't see why this doesn't benefit them.
But you know what? What I want to see is the change in Emprox. That's right. In the bottom lane, it is the one and only Young Cat. He has made impact in the OCS before. He has made an impact in the OCE scene. Now he's joining the Emprox roster.
This is a great game for him. He's well known throughout both the OCS and through the solo queue ladder as a great ADC. And Ground Zero, their main carry, their shining light is high T. So this is a good measuring stick for him to see how he shapes up in the OCS. I would say this is tough for Ground Zero though.
Well, potentially, because, I mean, tough in the sense that now they've got Faulkner in. So Faulkner comes in and replaces Dominator, which I think is interesting, but they've also got Midas in as well. So tough in, yes, they're 1-4, but also tough in that they've changed their roster up this week.
2 subs in for such a strange meta. There's something that you have to adapt to, and then you have to adapt to 2 players coming into your team and sort of working out how they fit in again. That's a big ask. That is a really big ask, let me tell you.
Well, a little bit, but again, around high T, right? So can high T make the adaptation, that's the word. Can he make the adaptation? Because if the bottom lane stays centric, like we see Sivir again, we're like, well, is that really the right move here?
Yeah, I would love to see him pick something else. I'm not even going to say go pick like the Vladimirs, the AP carries, the Rises down bot lane. Just pick something like Lucian. We've seen it before tonight. It can still be very, very aggressive and very, very useful as an ADC pick. So you have to tend towards those more aggressive champions that utilize things that aren't crit, utilize the Gwynsuits, utilize the Essence Reaver, and be aggressive.
So what do we see as first big priorities? We jump into Emprox Ground Zero. Zoe banned away. Chaz has had that champion too many weeks.
Not even that. I saw on Twitter, High T just said, I can't wait to be one-shot by Zoe again.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
That's a little bit of a personal ban, just upset at being removed from the Rift by her one too many times.
Well, that targeted ban towards Emprox is responded by a Karthus ban, as we saw tonight, and I know that Cadence, that would definitely be high on his list.
I feel like a lot of champions are high on his list. It's a strange ban. There's so many mid lane champions that you can pick that fit that new meta champion type thing. So perhaps they're just really worried, like you said before, about the Karthus new, the really steroided up Karthus that does a lot of damage early on. So sort of, again, speaks to me that they just want to play the old standard.
Well, maybe, because they banned away Mordekaiser, but remember, Yasuo is still open as far as we see things. There's Alistar available as well. You take Ornn out, but you don't get rid of the full combo. And right now, Ground Zero, their ability to adapt in this situation is going to show exactly which direction they go. Aurelia is the 3rd and final ban, and that's a weird priority considering what we've seen tonight.
Yeah, it's still strong. Don't get me wrong. It is still a very, very strong support champion.
But look at what you give away.
You're giving away Lucian. You're giving away... what else is up? Graves is still up. Trundle is still up. You even have the possibility of something like Rise and then flexing it between mid and bot lane. There are so many things. Even Talia, one thing that I didn't even mention, still available. So putting this much priority on Rakan, you better hope something happens in bot lane to justify it.
And I think I'm curious because Faulkner, to pick this in his first game, the Talia jungle is probably going to be responded by the Graves pick. That one's locked in. Emprox, they then respond. Young Cat decides to go back on his Ezreal.
I will say, I did say we have to see something big come out of the Rakan from bot, but it could go somewhere else. All right, I'm not locking it in yet. Cadence hovering the Azir. I don't believe anything this man says.
Cadence loves Azir. I think that's why he hovers it each week. If this gets locked in,
I don't believe it until it's locked in, especially from him. Talia jungle. this is such a strong pick, and it's been banned, and there's so much respect given to it.
Yep.
And now it gets through, and not only does it get through, it doesn't get first pick. So you better hope that Y on Graves can really handle the aggressiveness from Taliyah.
Well, we've seen Y be an absolute dominant force before, but let's jump into the second ban phase, because the Shen taken away will mean that Thean cannot get onto something, I guess, a little bit more comfortable for this composition. Nah, the response. I mean, when you're going up against Hyper, it's in his name, so you ban the Nah.
So I actually ran into him on solo queue a couple days ago, and he said to me, T-Gun, stop saying I'm a Nah main. He was upset about it.
Nah's passive. His W is literally Hyper.
Yes, he said he has had the name Hyper since before Nah was released.
All right, look.
So he's a little upset with us. Too bad. Too bad. Change your name.
Wow.
That's the only way you're getting away from it. Especially because I even said to him, he one-tricked Nah for like a season.
Did he?
Yes.
So there you go.
It's his fault.
There you go. Now we're getting it from that. Well, anyway, he's not going to get into this game at the very least.
Yasuo ban.
I saw the Yasuo ban. I think that's interesting considering that we already have the bot lane. It is still a flex and something Chaz can play. Mundo, the final ban.
You just said we already have the bot lane. We've seen Lucian go mid already. I'm
talking more about the side of Emprox.
Again, I'm not even sold on that being Vlad mid. I'm waiting until everything's done and dusted.
Yeah.
It's so difficult to try and predict things now. Gosh, it's hard. Rise as a counter pick, if this is Vlad mid, works quite well. You're going to push him in early.
It's a chat special as well.
So gets a comfort pick.
There we go. Thean, his second week of the OCS, decides he's coming out with the Interior Crocodile Alligator.
We saw it banned last game as well.
We did.
So there was a lot of respect given to Renekton recently.
Great early game.
I want to see Aatrox. I want to see the Aatrox. Doesn't look like it's going to be. It looks like they're going to go back to something safe in Cho'Gath. Does well into the Renekton, but if the Renekton gets a lead early, this could be very dangerous for Ground Zero.
It could. We've seen a Renekton take off before, and for Emprox, it's definitely not off the cards. Pretty standard.
Pretty
Apart from...
Pretty standard.
Well, hang on. Let's see, because if High T might
ignore
just
it for 20
seconds.
Ignore it for 20
I
seconds.
will ignore it. No, on the side of Emprox, though, that's pretty standard. Like, that's an old school comp.
That is the old meta. That is just... the roles are very defined. You know exactly where everything's going. And I can't really fault them because they do come into this the stronger team. They do come into this expected to win.
Do you think that it's just teams not being comfortable and maybe not knowing enough, even though it's been a week? And
that could be correct, and it's now official that it is Vladimir ADC. I'm very happy. Lucian mid with the cleanse, I think is going to do quite well into the Rise, especially with the ability to dodge things. Obviously, quite a mobile champion.
But let's come back. So, do you think it's comfortability for these teams?
It could be. It could be that, you know, we haven't practiced enough. Let's go to something we're tried and true on. And then you have the teams like Ground Zero, the ones that were struggling on the old meta, saying, you know what, let's commit to this. Let's play this new style. And try and throw a curveball in there. And I love that from them because they were not excelling previously. So you need to embrace these changes. Embrace the Vladimir down in bot lane. He's not an ADC. I'm not calling him ADC. I'm not calling him a marksman. All right, he is bot lane because that's how it's shown on the client as well. He's bottom.
That's what Ground Zero needs. Show their stars of tomorrow, that versatility. And although in last game QUT showed that same versatility, it was just these small things like not having flash on the Leona mid. But I saw the summoners there. It looked pretty standard. I don't think this one is as hard to execute as the last one was. You've got the Taliyah jungle mid. Look at that early game. And the one-item power spike now of a Vladimir is just huge.
There's so much that I love about the Vladimir in bot lane. I've always loved playing these off-meta things, these AP carries down in bot lane, as long as you have an AD threat. And Ground Zero have covered that base, putting the Lucian on the field as well. In bot lane, I'm not sure that Ezreal can really hold off the Vladimir.
I was just going to say, well, this could be a difficult bottom lane for Emprox as we jump into game number 3. And for Emprox, they're sitting 4-1 as well. If they can get this win, 5-1, they will join up with Chiefs Academy. For Ground Zero, you want to make sure you're on board with teams like Order Academy, move up to Avant Academy as well. So let's see where this goes.
Back to the bot lane here, just for a second. As Young Cat tells us where we belong, I get it, it's an age joke, leave me alone. Vladimir does quite well sustaining through the lane and sustaining through poke, and Ezreal wins lanes by poking out his opponent. That's how he wins his lanes, if not just sort of sustains through them. So I'm a big fan of the Vladimir down bot lane. It's just... there's such little information on it that's hard to really make a decisive call, but I will give the benefit to Ground Zero's bot lane so far.
Midas and High T. Midas coming in, so I guess the only worry that I have is that support moving in with a new team. Midas is someone who, can you say he was on the Emprox roster at one point?
He was, yes. So was Cadence.
This is kind of like a revenge match as well, so for Emprox, sealing the deal.
There's always that little bit of just a personal vendetta when you go up against an old team where you want to prove to them that you were worth it. Right?
You were holding me back.
Now that's what's going to be on the back of their minds, and you just have to hope that they don't let it get to them.
Don't you just love this lane early? IT, the transfusion proc. No blood rush. Well, there it is. Walks towards Young Cat. Ah, he backs away at the last second. Painful to watch.
Trades like that we just saw. The Rakan trading health with Alistar and both coming out roughly even would be favored towards the Alistar if it's played very optimally, because the sustain's just going to be a little bit better on their side.
Midas hits 2 first. High T now in a good position. The flash there. Midas is ignited. Young Cat gets first blood. Welcome back to the OCS. High T gets one more hit and Corporal survives. But Young Cat gets away unscathed and unpunished.
Great engage and then counter-engage from Emprox exhibited in those small little skirmishes down there. Midas just not paying enough respect to the damage output of Emprox, and Young Cat coming in as the sub, solidifying that choice, saying, I'm here to play, gets first blood down in bot lane.
Well, immediately Emprox come out with a bang. For Ground Zero, I mean, the Vladimir stays in lane. That's the one good thing you can take away from it, but not a good start from Midas. He uses the Ignite, and now Hex Flash is on the table. I think tonight, we see one of these non-standard comps win.
Off meta.
Yeah, because we haven't seen one win yet.
That is correct. They've all fallen short so far. The kill down bot doesn't bode well for them because Ezreal's going to get his tier even earlier. And the second he gets that tier, it's going to be quite difficult for the Vlad to sustain through the lane.
Well, High T, either way. Been a player to watch, and the winning condition of Ground Zero is Young Cat going to back now to get his tier. There's nothing that can stop him. Tier picked up. As I was saying, for Ground Zero's bottom lane, this has been the focal point in an OCS where the bottom lane hasn't been that exceptional. Why? Almost caught out. But he'll move himself away from Faulkner, who's trying to make an impact early as well. But the bottom lane, the focus, and Emprox immediately shutting it down is a kind of a concerning point. Hype up, the shove back thing, and flashes away, but Faulkner doesn't get the rest of the queue out, and it's an issue for Ground Zero.
There was potential to dive there. There was threat, obviously. Renekton's very good at countering dives and turning around and sustaining through it, but there was potential there. There was great combo from Ground Zero to set it up with the Cho'Gath Q into the flick from Talia. So good aggression from them, trading that, getting that flash out. So they are still being proactive on the map, but they do need to start, supplementing what's happened down bot lane, because if the game just goes from here and stagnates out, it's very, very boring and no one does anything. Ezreal's going to be incredible in the mid game. He's already way further ahead than he should be with the tier. And Emprox going to be aggressive down here now too.
But how's Corporal going to be if he gets stuck against that wall? Back onto Young Cat, and Wise here as well. Midas and High T just have to get the heck out of there. Midas being the target, the launch back. Faulkner, great place, great timing.
That's just spot on by Faulkner. No respect by Corporal given to Ground Zero. Yes, Alistar doesn't have flash. Yes, you're outside of their engage range, but you have no vision really in the jungle. You only have the pink in the pixel brush up near mid lane, and that's not enough if you want to be continually aggressive down in the bot lane.
Why peeks his head a little bit too far forward, but Faulkner getting that kill. It's exactly what you want on Talia jungle in 8.11.
Can't really ask for much more early on. He's gotten 2 great ganks off. The flash up top. What we'll likely see is when he hits level 6, a revisit to that top lane. If Hyper can bait out Theon to just overstep his bounds and start scaling on the other side of the map and just sort of leave bot lane to their own devices now.
Well, naturally, he wants to push against Hyper here. Hyper clearing out the wave. The trade's just not favorable. Sustain on both of these top laners, so it's going to be quiet for now unless we see that jungle interference. 6 hit for Theon. On his first back, he went back, got 2 long swords and boots of speed, so I guess it's going to be okay for now, but there's not as much kill threat as you would expect.
You see two very different playstyles emerging in the item builds. Double longsword boots of speed versus double cloth armor on the Cho'Gath. One side realizing that all he wants to do is survive, sustain, and get out of the lane. The other one knowing he has to be aggressive. He has to get kills and start moving the game forward. The weird thing for me is the double cloth armor doesn't scream that he's going to get much more attention. It feels like Faulkner won't even re-gank up there, even though he's burnt the flash. So Hyper will have to pay a bit more respect to Theon as the lane progresses.
It's already been a pretty strong early game considering that Emprox got first blood and Ground Zero got a quick response. And I was asking to myself if Faulkner could come into a very early game team like Ground Zero, who later on struggle with decision making, but in this meta it's not going to matter, and make that impact.
Seems like he's done it so far.
But it's so far.
Yeah, it is so far, obviously. Like, it's yet to be seen how he's going to deal with, you know, the 10 to 15 minute mark, the games that pretty much scale out of control, and why in his face.
Oh, this is not good. Why? Faulkner is level 6 in the Weaver's Wall of Able. If he wants to cut them off, culling there into Chaz, the damage will burst out, but Faulkner still holding on to his ultimate. And they'll just back off. Theon decides it's time to party with Hyper.
He's too far forward.
Is the ultimate going to be used? I mean, Hyper does not have Feast, but has to use it eventually. Faulkner comes up, but Theon, that was good bait by Hyper.
No flash, like we said, Faulkner could revisit there. Didn't seem like they were setting it up, but after that little skirmish in mid lane, that was just a freebie for Faulkner. Throws the Weaver's Wall up there, nets himself the kill. 2 kills on the Talia now. I'm not sure why he can really stand up to her in the 1v1 anymore.
Maybe this is a meta for Ground Zero. Maybe this is the change that they needed. An over-ambitious comp, we did not say that. We said it was an ambitious comp that had its merit. As Chaz walks up, Faulkner there, going to have to smite it down, and Chaz applying pressure where needed, but still the Talia gets the Scuttle Crab. Will be able to back here and most likely get the Runic Echoes. And that's more to be said than Y, who doesn't even have the Warrior enchant yet and is probably not that close.
Once Faulkner recalls and gets that extra strength, be it the Runic Echoes or whatever he decides to do.
What else would you do? Warrior.
It's
Warrior's
8-11.
Talia.
It's 8-11, mate. I'm not making decisions.
Yeah, that's fair.
Once he does that, though, it's going to be a lot more difficult for Chaz to maintain priority on his own blue buff. And we said it earlier today when Carter started losing control of his blue buffs, he was inconsequential in the game. Ryze is a little bit of the same. If he doesn't get blue buffs, he's a significant amount weaker than he normally is. So it'll be interesting to see if that's where Faulkner places his priority, or if he goes down bot and tries to get the Vladimir roll.
I guess the one thing that Cadence knows is he's not getting blue buffs this game. It's going straight to Faulkner. And mid lane falling behind a little bit in CS against Chaz, but Faulkner has pushed his way forward, 20 CS above of Y. The bottom lane continues to be oppressive, but one that High T's managed to catch up on. Faulkner's response, the Infernal Drake. Top side of the map, not pressured whatsoever. For Ground Zero this early game, it's just showing me why this change-up might be really good.
That was a very, very smart early Drake by Faulkner.
Yeah.
It was a great Drake to take as well. Another Infernal. We keep getting them here in the OCS tonight. Just constant Infernal Drakes, and you have to love it for Ground Zero with, I want to say, 3 champions that are going to benefit from it immensely. So, great play by him, utilizing those early kills. Now he has to try, once his ultimate's off cooldown, to get back into a lane. And I hope it's bot lane, because even though they got the early kill down bot early, in Emprox did it, that is, High T he's up in CS.
This is not watered though, and Emprox Corporal will have to go shortly. The bump up, and Seismic Shove doesn't land, but the flash forward. High T's already used the Hemo Plate. 1 down, 1 to go as Hyper's on the backside. Hi, Cho'Gath. Just comes in for a feast.
I'm not really sure why Cho'Gath is here. He wasn't invited, no one wanted him there, but he's there.
That's a big mistake, because it's going to be 2 versus 4, considering turret take. This turret's going to go down first.
Still, Ground Zero do get the kill off. A little bit weird from them. They look like they both wanted to engage at the same time with the Talia flick and the Alistar engage happening.
Yep.
When it should be layered. It should be Alistar and then the flick, or vice versa. They're both at the same time. So while they are utilizing their advantage, like I said, Talia getting aggressive, getting into the lanes well, even without her ultimate, just not firing in the correct order.
I guess my concern is what you sacrifice for that on the side of Ground Zero. The top side of Emprox pushed in, and Theon is now 35 CS ahead, as well as getting the gold from the turret. He walks mid, and if this power is applied against Ground Zero, they could lose that mid lane turret. That outer goes down, and immediately Emprox respond so well. Speaking of which, Midas looking mighty taller as he walks forward. Why? Collateral damage just to get the Raptor. At least he got it.
Midas still had ulti there. He was never in really any threat of dying, so he's happy to just go and phase check and try and reclaim that jungle control.
Yep.
Unfortunate that it does get stolen away, but I mean, if he has to use collateral damage, that's fine. That's a trade you type worth in ult out after it happens.
Of course, naturally.
Gonna make sure everyone knows.
But Midas is now moving around the map. Mobility boots picked up before Corporal, and the bottom lane of Ground Zero, they're enabled. That's the easiest way to put it. Hyper is behind, and he can push out this lane, but the longer lane will suit out Thean. He's the one who has escapes. He's the one who is ahead. And he's actually gone for a split build right now. The Tiamat is sitting in the inventory alongside the Phage, where Banner of Command is picked up for Hyper, so there's only one good thing to pull out so far of this 1v1.
That banner is going to alleviate so much pressure.
Yeah.
I assume the reason he teleported bot lane was he was just going to get pushed out and dove anyway, so you might as well go be useful somewhere else. Now with the banner, there is such little dive pressure. There's no minion dematerializer on the side of Renekton. He's able to sort of stall out that lane, and yes, it's the long lane, so he's likely going to find himself in a dangerous position every now and then. But if he's able to simply play the weak side, concede little things, and defend the tower as best he can, Ground Zero are going to get this top tower, and they're going to be able to do it quickly as long as the Talia's around.
Because Emprox right now, they look like they're focused around the Rift Herald, and Midas pushes away Corporal. As Vision being denied and being pushed forward, it's still control around this top side of the map that goes towards Emprox, with a couple of wards dropped around by Ground Zero, but the bot side now going to move top, and as we move into the mid game with an Infernal Drake, Ground Zero seem like they have control, but only just, considering what it's been at the cost at. The bottom side and the top side.
The worrying thing for Ground Zero is the Ryze has just been happily free farming. There hasn't been any threat mid. Lucian and Ryze have sort of had a gentleman's agreement to just farm and not do much. Faulkner going in now.
This is not an agreement anymore, not for the top side of the map. Corporal, the flash forward, seismic shove onto Young Cat, and kaboom again. Young Cat loses his life for the first time.
Again, just great play by Faulkner. Flash seismic shove, getting work done. This is why you see Talia banned so often, is the strength out of her. She just does what she pleases on this map. I said that they were going to be aggressive top and take the tower. Instead, it looks like they're opting for the Rift Herald. Cadence doing the right thing, sort of stalling out the response from Emprox, doing what he can. And even if Y looks to come in and delay this, it's not going to work.
Faulkner is 2-0-2. He went back and got the Runic Echoes about 5 years ago. And now after this, with the Stork Shoes picked up and with the Rift Herald in his back pocket, Ground Zero's jungler is keeping them afloat and keeping them prepared for this ultra late game at 20 minutes.
He still didn't use his ultimate then. He still has the ultimate available. Every time he gets a gank off of that ultimate, he's basically saving himself some time, getting some more effectiveness and usefulness out of it. It's a little bit like you see with Nocturnes. Anytime Nocturnes use their ultimate, generally they just wait for it to be up again to do anything. Now Talia, it's a little bit of the same, although she is still effective without it, but keeping that cooldown means that in this situation, for example, when Emprox are pushing hard on the mid tower, High T can go in aggressively here, knowing that Talia is going to come in.
This is a bad TP from Height. I'm not sure. High T, excuse me. Faulkner comes in once again. The chase is on. Cadence flash forward. A flash response from Chaz. Oh boy, pedal to the metal, says Ground Zero. I like it.
Now you see the Rift Herald, and this should be mid tower. There should be no way Emprox can defend this. Ground Zero are going to go in. You only have Corporal and Y. You're going to have Young Cat off to the side. Just not enough, not quick enough for Emprox. You even saw Thean poking his head in.
And he's now going to go towards the bot side once again as Dragon spawns. And what is it going to be? Another Infernal for Ground Zero.
One thing taking that mid tower did was delay the recalls. Chaz only just recalled. Y still hasn't recalled, so he's not full health, not full mana. So even though Emprox, they know about this, they have to contest it.
Oh,
just mistimed it.
Only just. High T up first. Hyper there as well. The collapse from Cadence and big knock up again. Emprox dissolve at the seams because Midas decides it's time to go back to the farm.
Vladimir popping off. Yes, as Alistair was being engaged, but High T now 4-0-1. A little bit overshadowing Faulkner 2-0-4 as well. A second Infernal Drake for Ground Zero. That's very, very important to note going into the mid game, into the late game, because even though the gold difference is only 1,000, 2 Infernal Drakes is a significant amount. That gold lead could easily be 3,000 or 4,000 to have the same feeling from Emprox's side.
And now, with the Vladimir 4-0-1, High T's in a position that he's very familiar with. He's fed, he's comfortable, and the team this time, with Faulkner, the jungle change, is actually keeping up. Is this a new ground zero that can start their run up? They're starting at 1 and 4, but they've still got plenty of time.
You also have Midas coming in as well and finding these great engages like the one we just saw.
Oh, yeah.
So the subs turning out trumps for ground zero. How will they perform in the late game? That's the budding question. Are they going to be as effective? Is Faulkner going to find the same sort of spots to get in and find those flicks that are so important? You saw him just barely miss the one on Chaz as he TP'd in behind the Dragon. Are they going to look to dive top, perhaps? As it seems like that's where they're sort of heading with the majority of their team.
Yeah, pressure on the top side by Ground Zero, pressure on the bottom side by Emprox. A 1k gold lead's going to even out shortly, but that turret should drop, and I think right now for Emprox, they're getting surprised a little bit here. They're a team that's been confident throughout and has only taken a loss to Chief Academy. Then, yeah, look, that's a scary moment. They will eventually get the turret, though.
Hyper did the right thing. He wanted to try and stall them. He saw the banded cannon as well. He was trying to get them off the tower, but if he stayed, he was dead. The tower was just a bit too far gone. Emprox trade the objective once again. It's about playing the weak side correct, and Hyper's doing a good job so far. And
Faulkner is the one waiting here for the play. 100% kill participation, and is just so far ahead. The Weaver's wall to cut them off, but Corporal and Young Cat aren't easy to catch. So they leave it, they move away, and look at the vision control again. Ground Zero have shown their growth time and time again, but for this week, in week 6, these changes, these subs.
This is what you needed to see from
100%.
They needed to prove that they are able to make that bracket run towards the end of the season.
And against Emprox.
Aggressive vision. Meta-defining picks right here. They are playing with the future in mind. The question is, can they keep it up in the late game? When Baron spawns, when you're getting to that 25-minute mark where every fight is so important, will they start stumbling a little bit, or are they going to keep being decisive like we've seen and get the fights that count?
That consistency is what counts for Ground Zero. Their one win came off the back of beating Bombers, and that was an upset because the Bombers were this rising star of a team. For Ground Zero, they just came out of nowhere. Corporal running for his life as Midas is the one on the chase, and as he walks his way out, Baron is up in 50 seconds, and that river is 100% controlled by Ground Zero. There is no vision in there for Emprox, and just getting near it is the biggest issue right now. It's Midas again, finds engage. Corporal goes in, but I'm not sure that's the best plan as Faulkner. Midas, they will not take the chase. Corporal ticking low, but he survives.
Corporal almost killed himself then. He went in on the Talia, who had already thrown down every single one of her abilities, and Corporal just...
Midas, wow. Why? Overestimating or underestimating Chaz there.
Yeah, I was talking about how Corporal almost killed himself, and then Midas pays no respect to Chaz, walks in aggressively, gets punished.
Does this cost him because Young Cat is dishing out a lot of damage? Corporal back in the fight, and Y escapes narrowly. Now they can't start Baron. That could have been a rush objective. But Ground Zero just have to back out, clear waves, and hope that they can get the opportunity again.
What it costs them is tempo. They were aggressive. They were controlling the pace there. They were getting deep wards. They were clearing out wards. They were in control. And now they have to back off. They have to buy time, wait for Midas to get out. Now you're seeing a little bit of disjointed play. You know, Talia backing after Alistair's already back out on the map. Now you see the Cho'Gath backing. They're just out of sync now from that one little misstep from Midas.
But to be fair, Emprox didn't prioritize vision around the Baron. They're only still poking their heads in, and they're not worrying about getting near the objective.
Corporal just walked up and dropped a ward on Baron, and Midas was in a very great spot to potentially catch him. So you see Midas being aggressive in the blue side of Emprox's jungle, looking for these picks. Even though he just got caught, it hasn't stopped him.
No, it hasn't. Ground Zero keeping their minds clear towards what could happen next. 2 Infernals and still ready to fight as they clear out more vision. Look at Midas. Just does not care right now. It's his second death, but almost 100% kill participation on this Alistar as well. The bottom lane from Ground Zero has been great, but still all about Faulkner and what pick potential he can add. Vision being denied. Midas is found to pick once again. Cadence this time winning the flash forward, and Midas so aggressive. Chaz, though, if you walk too far forward, Chaz is going to blow you up.
Chaz is putting out so much damage. Midas got hit by, I want to say, like 2 abilities, maybe just the QW.
Yeah.
And he's on a 3rd health.
Oh, it was literally EQ, so done.
Oh. That was without his ultimate, though. So in the team fights, when Midas does go in with the ultimate, he will be a bit more durable.
But when he gets that 3rd item, T-Gun, when he gets some real Anomicon, this is when he's going to get through all the defenses in Ground Zero. To be quite honest, they don't have many defenses.
Y is going to need some defense right now. He's caught out. He's way too far
Hyper's
forward.
just come around the side! That is what happened when you fast for 48 hours. Hyper comes in and decides you're on the menu. Ground Zero turn the tempo out once again.
And it nets him another dragon. Ocean Drake, not the greatest dragon for right now. Yes, you're kind of wanting an Infernal or a Mountain, but still, making that 35-minute spike when Elder Drake is available, quite important. Again, a misstep from a veteran player in Y, and now Hyper and Faulkner
Is
can
this
take
a
down
misstep
Thean.
from Thean? He flashes forward onto Faulkner. There's not many defenses there. Faulkner in a bit of trouble, but it will eventually go over to Hyper. Close call, but still Ground Zero deciding the pace of this game.
Faulkner again, just proving how quick he is to read the map. Getting into that bot lane after getting the pick and the dragon. Emprox, their answer is to get Vision, which is the correct one.
Hang on, True Shot Barrage coming down to Faulkner.
He won't die even if he gets hit. He's too healthy.
No, but, you know, talking about accuracy, or it's exciting, T-Gun. If you can hit a True Shot Barrage, you can win a game.
Well, I mean,
You
yeah.
probably don't agree with that. No, that's fair enough. Have seen the Trinity Force come out of Young Cat, so much more aggressive build that we like to see. I mean, in this meta, I honestly do not like Iceborne Gauntlet.
Well, there's only one AD threat.
Yep.
It's double AP,
Okay, that's fair.
if not even triple AP on Ground Zero's side, so the Iceborne Gauntlet wouldn't make much sense. You don't really need to peel yourself back very much as well, so
Cool.
Trinity makes a lot of sense here.
Chaz and Y, we're just waiting for Cadence. He takes the safe route.
That's
Can you
what
imagine if they were still there?
they need to be looking for things like that, though. Because that's where they're getting these little receipts, is what I want to call them. They're getting things on the back of what Ground
So
Zero
they're
is
getting
doing.
taxed later in the year, you say?
Yeah. The tax man.
Tax man's back. I think it's coming close.
Hiding
to
in
that
the
time, Legend.
bushes.
Look, we've seen this in the OPL last week. We saw the classic bush play. I don't know. We don't call it Fnatic Death Brush anymore. I think we call it the Sin Death Brush. Mammoth Death Brush. Tusk up.
Maybe in Mammoth games.
Best hashtag, by the way. Call it. I think Tusk up is by far the best hashtag. Faulkner. Yeah, again, it's that pick potential that they're scared of on the side of Emprox. Midas is always front. Look at him.
Feeling a bit of deja vu here, because we've seen Midas do that exact same thing against Corporal, and Corporal, again, just sort of being as aggressive as he can be without overextending. This time netting themselves a blue buff, and I said it before, if you can starve Rise of blue buff, you're going to start winning fights because he isn't able to be as persistent through them. So, good play by Ground Zero. Yes, it's not a major objective, it's not Baron, it's not another dragon, it's not a tower, but these are the things that win you games.
But at the moment, T-Gun, I think it's pretty silent. It's not really questioning what wins the game right now. It's how we can get towards the thing that helps us win the game, which is the Baron. It's a fight for vision control. And at the moment, Ground Zero have just tightened it down. I have to give them props. I don't think they've had this much priority before on vision control. Again, showing the changes that come out of Faulkner and Midas in Week 6.
It's just all about who's more persistent here. Is Corporal able to continually find his way in, contest the vision, and ensure that they're not on it? Or do Ground Zero continually...
Oh,
wow.
Hyper just got a 1v1. That means they start Baron. They're like, hey, I'm killing this guy. Thean is dead. Hyper has TP, and it is a 5 versus 4 if they choose to take this.
Hyper needs to channel the TP. He is. Even if he doesn't plan to finish it, he needs to before the fight
used
starts.
by Corporal. He's into the back line. Baron's low, but it gets taken down. Ground Zero get the objective, but now 4 versus 4. Can Cadence survive alongside Faulkner? Why? With the Hemoplagus running for his life. Midas goes down, but so does Corporal. And in the end, Y joins him on the backside. Cadence will survive, but only just. Ground Zero, the objective, and the fight.
What a great Baron call by Ground Zero. Hyper gets the solo kill on the other side. They've finally cleared all the vision, so Emprox have to be tentative in how they approach and contest the Baron. It nets them Baron, it nets them the fight, win, and that's blown open the game. We were saying it stalled out a little bit, it got a bit slow, but it was all about just persistence from Ground Zero, finding that objective, and that's going to net them probably these last 2 remaining inners and another dragon in about a minute and a half.
They're 3,000 gold up, and Ground Zero against Emprox are doing what some seemed impossible. A 4-1 team like Emprox, they have only taken a loss to, out of anyone, to Mammoth Academy, which have a very similar playstyle. But this time Emprox, they're not running with it. This is a standard comp going up against a comp that's running a Vladimir 80 carry. And it seems like the Vladimir in the bot lane has just controlled this game down to a minimum. And, of course, the Talia jungle.
I would say the Talia jungle is the big impact. Yes, the Vladimir is impactful now. He's doing work. But Talia set it all in motion. Got the early kills, got the trade kill down bottom to equalize the lane and sort of take it back to a neutral setup. And now Ground Zero in the driver's seat, taking it out.
Oh, the Lucian going to help out. At least having 180 carry is going to help you push waves. And Faulkner, the damage threat as well as the kill threat is there onto anyone who walks forward. Emprox, they might just have to give this one up.
Great use of the Weaver's Wall. I love when teams do this. It is the most obnoxious thing to play against, but it nets you a free tower.
And Ground Zero now onto the inhibitor, but I don't think this one's going to be as free. They might let the Baroned up minions do their job. But Emprox is the 5 versus 5. If they go in, can Chaz find the pick? Midas is not that tanky at the moment.
They still need to be wary of the Rakan engage. They do eventually take the inhibitor, but the reason it takes them so long, they're paying so much respect to the Rakan. Because even though Ground Zero are in a commanding position and are leading, all it takes is one Rakan engage that gets all 5 of them, or even just 4 of them, or just a Talia and Lucian to turn it all around. So Ground Zero doing the right thing, being patient, getting the extra dragon down, and we'll likely see pretty much the same thing happen either in the top lane or mid lane.
That's 4 elemental Drakes, T-Gun. The last going to be a mountain. And Ground Zero, what a game it's been so far. 28 minutes in, and the lead is almost huge. It is only about 5,000 gold, and for Emprox and the composition that they've built here, it's not going to be too dangerous just yet. Baron not up for a while, and Emprox moving to the top side of the map to try and match the next play.
Yes, it's only 5,000 gold, but it's also 4 Drakes. 2 Infernals, 2 Oceans now is a pretty significant lead. Midas, he's a bit caught out.
Well, hang on, let's see the collapse. Is it going to happen? A flash over the wall, Midas lives. There's going to be nothing coming out. Ground Zero now moving Faulkner.
Ground Zero don't need to fight right now. Emprox do. So just peeling back and letting it all dissolve is the right move. Wait until you're set up, wait till it's in a spot for you, let that bot wave start working as a 6th member, and then you look for fights, then you look for picks. Wait for the Weaver's Wall again, because they can do the exact same thing. Throw the Weaver's Wall, and then take towers.
Well, Y is the one who's ambitiously forward. As Emprox peel back to their base once again. Topside seems to be the play. It's the 3-item Vladimir. High T has Spellbinder now, and this is where things get dangerous. The Protobelt Vladimir launches himself forward, and you're gone. Ground Zero feeling comfortable in this push. And going to use the end of their Baron buff, which has just expired, I believe, to now get this turret.
Even without Baron, though, it doesn't matter. They can still push. They can use the banner, they can use the Weaver's Wall, and keep forcing through these objectives. It looks like they're sort of hesitant about committing top, though. They look like they want to end up mid. They're aware that, yes, Theon is pushing it out. Theon is still a threat at running down that mid lane and looking for the tower, so they opt to back off a little bit and just regain control of the map.
But at what point does Chaz start walking through these fights? Because he's not counted out just yet. He's kept up with cadence, and he's a level behind. However, still those 3 items. He can defend, he can wave clear. He's safety for Emprox. Are we even considering that right now as Hyper walks forward? Chaz has been silent. Ground Zero. Midas, is this too ambitious? I think it is. He could be taken out, but Cadence just cullings all the way into Theon. Corporal the next target. They're running away as High T comes in and says, I love some sandwiches on a weird little cake stand. Hyper walks forward. Young Cat runs away, and the inhibitor turret goes down alongside the inhibitor soon. Faulkner gets bursted out. Hyper's there. They walk away. Looks like High T maybe coming back in as, see you later, Corporal. That was ambitious. Overly so.
All a little sketchy from Ground Zero, but they did execute what they needed. Wow.
Is this sketchy? No. Caden says, wham bam, thank you, man.
That's confidence. That's what that is. That's knowing that, yes, you can be aggressive now. Yes, you can take these little extra things, the extra credit on the end of fights. And now they're looking to do the same thing mid before Emprox respawn.
Oh, that hungry hippo again, launching forward. Hyper is almost unkillable at this stage of the game. Faulkner, the pick onto Chaz, not there, but Ground Zero, the last turret is mid, and they'll take it down.
They should back away. They need to back away.
That's a 9,000 gold lead, T-Gun. 8,000, if you could math.
There's no need to fight right now. Back off, recall as a team, spend all that money. We saw it last game. Do the passive thing, because you've earned it. You've earned the right to back off and take a breather. Come back, take the Baron, and take down that final inhib after you've spent all your money. Ground Zero on the way to taking down Emprox.
1 and 4, could be 2 and 4 pretty shortly, and what an upset that would be. Standing showing how close they really are for Emprox. They wanted to move up to Chiefs Academy, but it seems like it's a difficult task when you're going up against Ground Zero, who week by week have shown so much improvement.
Where did all go wrong for Emprox as well? Chaz got a comfortable champion. In fact, almost all of them got champions that you would say they're comfortable on. And it just seems that Ground Zero have executed exceptionally. Faulkner has been just all over the map. Every time there's a fight, he's there. Anytime there's an objective, he's there. And now that they kick Baron, there's no way Emprox can contest. Seems like it's almost a finished game.
Right, Chaz has TP, but he's not there. Baron goes down second time this time for Ground Zero. They walk across the map. Dragon's going to be up in a minute 30, and longer games here today on the OCS. 33 minutes in now on Ground Zero. Waiting to put the nail in the coffin, but some part of me says, Hysterics, it's not over yet.
It definitely isn't over.
Not when that happens. Faulkner flashing away, but Chaz, the grand escape now as Cadence wants blood for blood, and you hurt my jungler, I'm going to hurt you. Cadence Realm Warp, Hemoplague, Chaz, he's dead.
I thought he was out.
Me too.
Hemoplague does a lot of damage, and now this inhibitor goes down, and Ground Zero are going to look to end. Yes, Dragon's spawning soon, but it does not matter. You don't need to wait for that Elder Drake. You need to try and finish while Chaz is down. Chaz being one of the strongest members on Emprox. Go in with the waves, do it nice, wait for all of your abilities to be up, use the Weaver's Wall again, split the team, and take the fight you need.
Inhibitor goes down in the bottom side and the mid side, and right now the pressure's on Ground Zero. Can they take down Emprox? A mighty upset it may be, but for Emprox, they've just been pushed against the wall. Hyper now, the Weaver's Wall cuts them off. A double, triple knockup. Ground Zero support comes in huge. And that cow needs to be tamed, because right now the bull with the horns has led Ground Zero to a 2-4.
The only one that died on Ground Zero all game was Midas.
True.
Everyone else, unkillable the whole game.
I wonder why Midas died.
I mean, he's the main engage. That's his job, is to go in, be aggressive. Maybe you die.
Might
Who cares?
as well. Yeah.
And wow, that's I have to be honest, not what I was expecting from Ground Zero.
No. I don't think
What
any
a
of us
game.
were expecting that from Ground Zero. Not because they're a team that's 1 and 4, but purely because when it gets towards the late game stage, they struggle to close.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now it's like there's this whole new team with Faulkner coming in and Midas as well. I think we see a very exciting new Ground Zero.
Has to be said, good on Cadence and Midas. Former members of Emprox have played for them before. Getting the win over them, that's gotta feel good.
That feels so good.
So, it still hasn't hit me yet. I wasn't expecting them to take the game, and so commandingly. Like I said, only Midas died. The rest of them, no deaths across the board.
Let's start with how this game came about, because it was off the back of one player, and that was Faulkner.
Yep.
Faulkner's early game Talia, and this is why it's been banned all night. This is why in 8.11, everyone bans Talia for a good reason. We saw why, and we saw what it could do when you're kind of not expecting the impact.
It was impressive by him. He was everywhere that he needed to be. Gets the early flash top, gets the trade kill bot, gets the kill up top after that. Like, he was effective everywhere on the map. The only place he didn't really influence was mid lane. And even then, mid lane was fine. It was just a farm lane. They were left to their own decisions. So, great play by Faulkner. Coming in as it's just impressive all around from all of them. It's just That is not the team we'd seen previously.
No, that is the team that has now grown in the OCS. My English is not very great. However, Tegan, we're moving forward into the very last game of the night. Avant Academy will take on Dire Cubs after this short 5-minute break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the OCS for the very last game of the night. My name is Jacob Osipenko. Bradley Tegan Seymour, of course, joins me. And this one is the shadow matchup of tomorrow's OPL game, or Saturday's OPL game. I'm going to check the schedule, and I will later. Avant Academy are taking on Dire Cubs. Now, this one's spicy, and Tegan, we're 1 for 1 so far on our shadow matchups. Chiefs Academy, they took down Legacy Genesis last week. And in the OPL, Chiefs took down Legacy.
So you're hoping Avant win the double then?
I'm not hoping, but I'm just saying that, look.
Well, who'd you tip then?
On the OPL? On the OPL, Dials 2-0.
So you're a Dire Cubs fan then?
Well, I'm not a fan. I'm biased caster, actually. Oh. But, yeah, Dire Cubs.
It's all shining through.
Look, Dyke, hang on.
You've been exposed.
Hang on.
Exposed.
Let's start this back up why the OCS team of Dire Cubs are potential favourites here. And, you know, no one is set out to win this game. But Dire Cubs, at the moment, look at that roster. Have you seen anyone as good as Get Back?
In the OPL, yes.
Maybe, yeah. Okay.
In the OCS, there are. We actually have. We are blessed that we have a lot of competitive mid laners.
We do have competitive mid laners, to be fair, and we also have competitive junglers, and Udisoft is one of them.
Udisoft will definitely be one of the top tiers. He sort of had a little bit of a curveball thrown with Biopanther being called up and now having to adjust to top Hoon and top lane.
To be fair, top Hoon has had a pretty good first week.
He did. He was very solid. He was playing the weak side quite well.
Yeah.
So if that's how they continue to treat him, put him on the weak side, especially in this current emerging meta where your top laner generally is one of the weaker lanes that doesn't receive a lot of pressure, feels like he'll fit in quite well.
Well, Hope has had a strange split so far in the sense that he's been a little bit back and forth, but it's been again about Serum. In the mid lane for Avant Academy has been a bit of a highlight. Aeon's a regional Graves player in his own right, so we'll see where the priority goes tonight, because I think 8.11 hasn't really caught us surprise here tonight.
There's only been one team that has played the new meta effectively, and that was the team we just saw win.
I mean, what is effectively for the new meta, though?
Well, I think 4 of your members not dying does quite well for you.
I mean, last game was a good indicator, yeah.
I would say that the Vladimir down bot lane, that's a big fan favorite. I'm a big fan of it myself, and if they can manage to pull it off, that'd be great. It also just adds more flexibility to your draft. Taking Ryze early, now it's a double flex in mid and bot lane. So that's what I would say is utilizing the flexibility of picks and placing priority on those over simply strong picks that are very one-dimensional.
Well, would you say Yasuo is one-dimensional on the bot side?
No. I would say Yasuo beats pretty much any ADC.
There has been 2 bans of him tonight. There was one game where it slipped through entirely. If we see the Vladimir Alistar, that's great. But also, you remember that the Yasuo's an availability as a flex, no doubt. And there's things like the Ornn Alistar that's been played in the bot side. So I think the OCS team's getting creative is what's going to make this last game maybe more successful than some people think.
It's interestingly enough, is it seems like they're just going down a flowchart of what beats what. I just read a tweet from Rusty that said this, which is like, you take Yasuo because it beats ADCs, then you take Vladimir because it beats Yasuo, then you take Ryze because it beats Vladimir, and they're just going down this flowchart of X champion beats Y champion, and they're just slowly going to get to the point where we're all just playing tanks.
Well, I think it'll come back eventually, surely. After what we saw in the last game, though, so the Vladimir Alistar, I see the priority, maybe a ban going towards Vladimir in this game. But tonight, it's been a lot about banning away the Camille, banning away the Talia jungle, except for the one game that it got through. So again, in this last game, for Dire Cubs, Udisoft's been sitting on Trundle, but does he make that transition?
Or do they transition completely to the support going mid in the jungler, right? Does Udisoft then play a support in mid, and their mid laner become the jungler?
What? I love analysts trying to explain this better, because it's simply like, so the support
it all
goes
makes
mid,
sense.
The mid then goes jungle, the top then becomes jungle. No, sorry, jungle top. Like, at the moment, you know what I can tell you? League of Legends champions, anyone who can do things at 10 minutes in the game will do things at 10 minutes.
What I need is like a big picture board and some yarn.
You need the flow chart.
Point stuff out.
We'll get your pointer next week. Because by the
I'd appreciate it.
Next week, if we move into 8.12 next week, boy oh boy, it's going to
even less ADCs.
It's going to be even crazier. Like, shields are nerfed.
Yep.
There is no way you play anything like an Orianna or any shielding champions.
You know what we haven't seen is Pyke. Even internationally, he doesn't really get picked much.
We saw him. I think we saw him once out of LGD the other night. Correct me if I'm wrong. And we also saw him out of LCK game as well. So we've seen a couple, but
it's not as much as you expect whenever a new champion comes out.
You expect high priority, wouldn't you? As we jump into our last pick and ban, and Dire Cubs and Avant Academy. Remember, this matchup's happening this weekend on the OPL. So let's see how it goes. Avant Academy There goes Master Yi as a blue side ban.
Is that 4 from 4?
It is, but not on blue side. It's always been red side.
Yeah,
so
it's always been red
strange.
side, so blue side can't first pick it. So blue side banning it means Avant just can't play it.
That's a new one as well. Nocturne we've seen internationally. We've seen the Nocturne Lulu combination.
Nocturne's great.
Oh,
Nocturne
100%.
is the
That is
ultimate
lovely.
assassin, essentially.
Yeah.
I will say, if his first 2 ganks don't get off with his ultimate, then he becomes sort of useless. But we see it banned. There's a big reason for that is because if he does start snowballing, someone on your team, the second they're split from your team, is going to die.
Yep. Well, Aurelia kind of fits that condition as well. The snowball effect. As Avant Academy, they're getting rid of a lot of red side bans. So this is the threat that they see from Diacubs. And at the moment, red side has a lot of power, considering that the first 2 picks are usually very potent.
The Aurelia ban, again, just strikes me as weird. They're banning out things that you normally see on the red side. They're banning out things that you would be happy to let through and take. So I have to expect they've got something planned. I hope it's the new meta. I hope it's the Vladimir bot lane.
Can I just
the Rise
point
bot
out
lane, something like that.
That I'm glad we don't see Lucian in Game 4. Like, I don't mind Lucian as a pick, but let's be honest. I want to see something crazy. Nunu's banned, which means maybe Nunu Karth has taken off, but you still got things like Mordekaiser, Yi Tarek probably now off the board, Shyvana's still up. Just going through my solo queue.
through the solo queue, just history that's left an impression on you.
But Pike, again,
It's still
in the back of my mind.
It's always in the back of my mind as well. But it just doesn't seem like it's the super power pick that we've come to expect people to sort of rely on. So that's why he's sort of been falling through. Graves the final ban from red side. Trundle open for Ubisoft. We said it before. He's a very big fan of it, very good on it. Kaiser left open as well. Good first pick. Although, yes, it is streamlined where it's going. I haven't seen it played anywhere but ADC.
The most stable ADC at the moment, though, let's be fair. If you're going to pick an AD carry, I think Kaiser's going to be a safe pick, and Avant Academy as their first pick. But what do they sacrifice is always the question.
It's hard to say. There's so many options for Diacubs. Like we said before, with all the flexibility in draft, you could take 2 things that could go anywhere. Morgana's one of the ones that are up and is very useful right now. That can be picked very confidently. Talia, quite good as well.
Yeah.
Still a flex pick, mind you. It's almost certainly going to go jungle, I guess. It's shown a lot of strength there, but
again, the Ezreal
can't lock it in.
I'm just still surprised. We still see the Ezreal still pretty much a comfort, and that has been going bottom lane 10 out of 10 times.
I'm not a huge fan of it. So if we just go by their records, go by what we've seen so far, Diacubs in a standard versus standard game are favored. So maybe that's what they're trying to lead the game into.
We just saw Ground Zero take down Emprox in a non-standard versus standard. That was the effect. They just didn't know how to deal with it on the side of Emprox.
Yeah, so like if it ends up standard versus standard, maybe that's what Diacubs are trying to make happen. Maybe that's where they're trying to lead it. On the side of Avant, it feels like these champions have very defined roles. Trundle goes in jungle. The Fizz hover. I hate when you hover a champion that you very likely intend to pick, and Serum is a Fizz player.
He is.
So
it's going to be Morgana. They're not going to let that one through, let's be honest. Morgana's so strong at the moment. Norska and Pluto, most likely taking that to the bottom side, although, yes, flex again, but...
You know what's up and I would love to see picked is Shen. Not even to go top, but to go support.
You would love to see Shen.
I would love to see it picked here. It's a great flex here. Zoe, another good pick, and it's taken. I don't know how that one got past me. We've seen it before in the OCS, and it seems like every time it's picked, it's influential.
There's so many things you can ban right now. There's so many things that if you leave open, you're in trouble. So at the moment, you just kind of can't win in these pick and ban phases.
I'm sure a lot of coaches will disagree with you.
Well, I think in another regard, it's about second-guessing your opponent, second-guessing your composition. And that's what could have been done here by Diacubs. They get the Talia. The Ezreal's been a big pick tonight, and Get Back gets his Zoe. Moving to the second ban phase, Yasuo taken off the board, and they're making sure that bottom lane stays where it is.
I would say, again, I would still love to see Shen on Diacubs, because then your bot lane doesn't stay where it is. Your bot lane can go wherever he wants. On the side of Avant Academy, it is a little bit more defined. You have to assume that Morgana is more than likely going to go down there, although she is a great counter pick in mid to Zoe. Because as long as you're respectful enough, as long as you pay attention and you're quick enough on the Black Shield, you should never be in threat of being killed.
But you know what I want to see? I have seen some skill matchups where you take a LeBlanc into the Zoe. Now, sometimes that can be bad for a LeBlanc, like a lot of the time. But I'm talking internationally. I've seen some bangers there. That one gets... Just as I have a good point.
Take the Fizz.
Take the Fizz.
We saw him hover it. I've seen him play it before. He's comfortable on it. It plays a lot like LeBlanc does. take the Fizz, take the skill matchup, and prove your worth in the mid lane. It's tough asking against Get Back. We were saying how good he was.
Yeah.
But I would still love to see that confidence from Avant Academy.
We're having a chat off stream for all you folks out there. And Tegan was telling me that Johnson hates that I specifically I say it. I say he's a Brom. He's a really good Brom. He plays a lot of Brom. He's like, I don't. You know, I'm a what'd you say he was?
So I ran into him and he said, I'm actually a Soraka main. And I said to him specifically, don't tell people that. That's not a good look. Go with the Braum thing. You know,
it's banned out against him. It was targeted. He got forced into going to something like Nami, which again is a surprise when we see something aggressive like Pyke on the board. Diacubs going back to their grassroots, and Katsuri Johnson have pretty much confirmed what they're doing in this game.
And yeah, it feels like Diacubs have just shown that they're willing to play this completely standard game. That being said,
that's not
they
standard.
still can go top.
That's not standard. Now, I expect this to be on Serum because I think I've seen Serum on this before.
He's played it in solo queue.
Yeah.
I can tell you that much. He's very comfortable on it, so it is a good pick for him.
It may be standard, but there's individual picks that might not be.
Yeah. It's a niche pick. That's how we'll define this, because it is so hard to define the differences. This is old meta, but it is niche.
Wow.
It is still a defined champion in its role, and we're not going to see anything fancy like double jungling with it. But it's also not something you see often. And I do like it into Zoe. If you're able to sort of gauge where Zoe is going to jump in, you can just jump on top of her, throw all your abilities down.
Yeah.
And I would fancy a guess you would burst her out.
Oh, Topoon, I think, did he play this last week from memory? I think the Jax was there. Second week in a row. And again, things like Pyke have gone over. We've seen so many picks that have just been pushed through. And that comfortability on the OCS is something maybe we'll talk about in game, T-Gun. But there you go.
What a standard game compared to what we were sort of expecting out of tonight. And I will address this very quickly. It feels a little overblown with how people are reacting to the changes, like that every game is a fiesta. Whereas I think it comes out to be about 1 in 4 games is just this weird game with a double jungle. So both teams opting to go back to the standard, and I have to give the advantage to Diacubs.
Yep.
I feel like they got a lot of strong champions. They got the Talia, they got the Zoe. Yes, they had to concede some things like the Kai'Sa, and to a lesser extent Trundle, but who does Trundle ult on Diacubs' side?
There's no one tanky enough. There's no one there you're going to get the stats. Jax is going to have to be the only target, and Diacubs sitting 4-1, but anything can happen as we've seen tonight with Ground Zero picking up the win. The momentum's there if a team like Avant Academy want to continue to push forward. 2-3 right now, and Avant Academy, they've beaten Ground Zero. They've beaten the Bombers. The Bombers. Diacubs lost to Bombers.
Yep.
So, therefore, maybe Avant are better. Let's jump in. Game number 4 here, and Avant Academy versus Diacubs. Last week it was 1-for-1, where we saw Legacy, Genesis, and Chiefs Academy go up against each other. Chiefs Academy won OCS. Chiefs won the game in OPL as well. And this is the start here.
Perhaps we see the beginning of a trend. I would say it's much less likely that it's just sort of a trend that shines through. As much as I do love that sister teams are a thing and you have these mentors to look down and help you out, Diacubs, while they've had a strong showing so far, aren't the absolute just stomping team that's so far head and shoulders above the competition as Dials have shown themselves to be historically.
Yeah.
So
there's been changes up. Topoon comes into the roster, and he had a great first week last week. But now it's about that consistency again that we talk about in the OCS. It's showing your performance is going to come out left, right, and center every single week, rather than, I had a good week, there's now a bit of shift in meta, and the Diacubs don't synergize well. I think that's the biggest change, is how people have been adapting to this meta. Individual picks like Lissandra wouldn't come out otherwise.
I hazard a guess that it would have actually come out of it. Yeah. Like I said before, Serum does play it quite a lot. So this seems like a pick that, while yes, you are getting the benefit of that change in playstyle and that change in meta, it's also, perhaps he's finally got the go-ahead from the coach. Perhaps he's finally been able to just be unleashed upon the OCS with this pick. We'll have to see how it works into Zoe, though.
I was going to say that for Zoe, I think there's going to be a bit of a range disadvantage for Serum, using that minion wave to keep himself safe. And it's not a pick we normally talk about. It's not a pick we normally see, to be quite honest. So, Lissandra. Avant Academy pulling out all stops in.
this is such an important game for Avant Academy to win as well.
Yeah.
Obviously, every game, you want to win every game. You want to be intuition. But if Avant Academy pull this out... Ooh,
what a dodge there. Pluto in trouble. And first blood goes over to Diacup. Nausicaa the next target, and Udisoft has come down at an opportune moment. Nausicaa will hide behind the wave. A flash forward by Katsurian. He started off looking nice. He finishes looking better.
He has 2 kills. He has tier gold already. 2.5 minutes into the game, Ezreal has tier gold. What a play from Diacup to get those kills. Played it well, baited them in as Udisoft is coming down with that 1 buff gank. Now Ezreal, with the quickest tier you can imagine he can get, complete control down in the bot lane. That's a tough thing for Kai'Sa to handle, and we were expecting the Kai'Sa to be the victor down there.
But you know what? It started Katsuri, arcane shift to the right away from the Dark Binding. He then got perfect range for the Mystic shot on Pluto. And he was dead before he knows it. You cannot stand that far forward when you have a Taliyah jungle who is most likely going to walk down to the bottom side first. So those 2 kills gets Katsuri the tier. He goes back, even gets a long sword. And this bottom lane now suddenly, before it's even begun, is going to be an issue.
The gank does not come without a repercussion. Udisoft has now been 3 buffs. Ions very quickly went to the red side of Diacup's, took the buff away, then went to his own blue. So while he has just been farming, he is punishing Udisoft for the gank down bot. But I still think it's well worth it for Diacup. When you get the double kill, you get your lane ahead. Now Udisoft being active in top lane.
There's going to be no response from Aeons because he's just not here in time. Pope walks away, doesn't burn the flash, so good response to hold on.
A little bit of a reprieve there for Topoon. Pope's going to be able to teleport back, obviously, before the wave is cleared. He's already built a little bit of a lead, but as the game gets further and further on, Topoon in the side lane is going to be able to outsplit Trundle by far.
Land from Nausicaa, the damage will come out. I think the Ignite's just been dropped down. One more hit from Pluto, and Johnson survives. Meanwhile, Katsuri walking forward. The TP's there. He kites around, but Pluto outplays. Katsuri will not die in vain. Johnson dies eventually. A 2-for-1 to Avant Academy, but are they in trouble from Udisoft?
Not yet. It could turn out badly, but there's a big wave for Diacup to deal with.
Get back is there. Doesn't hit Serum. The trouble bubble misses. Serum in a bit of trouble, but remember the glacial path is still available. Goes on into Udisoft. The flash, the ignite. Get back, walking forward. He gets one, but Aeons is there. The flash away. Angry Viking hits Udisoft. Smack down. And he says, it's time for the Pentakill album to play.
Crazy responses from both teams there. This fight is still going.
See you later. I love 8.11. Get back 71. Will he find Nausicaa? Not this time.
In that 1 minute stretch, I think we saw, I want to say 3, maybe even 4 flashes to dodge abilities aggressively. As in flashing towards the enemy team. Generally, you see people flash away or flash to the side to avoid stuff. That was just people going in constantly. And when it's all said and done, it comes out about even. But I want to give the win to Diacup because they've got 2 kills on a Zoe.
What is even, though? Because you've now got to pick Axe on Pluto, and that's not the best first back, let's be quite honest.
Yep.
You're going to make sure you can get yourself the recurve bow, but going in for the damage item first meant one of the boots of speed. And now for the mid lane, how does this affect it? Because there's double Doran's Ring, double Amplifying Tome on Get Back. He has a blue buff, and the Hextech Revolver on Serum, so I think at the moment, Serum will be pretty comfortable. But again, the Taliyah jungle, 0, 1, and 4. This champion needs to be banned. Without a doubt.
It has to get back to that permaban status. Because every time we've seen it through, it's been influential.
Well, the 1v1, Topoon. This is dangerous. Pope, the flash forward, but the burn comes down. Wow, what a start to the game.
The ultimate from Trundle ringing true. We said before the game we weren't sure who he was going to ultimate or how he was going to be effective, but gets the solo kill and bringing a bit of control back to Avant Academy after Diacup had been sort of running away with it.
I guess you say when the subjugate who's going to be used on early for Topoon, that's absolutely fine as we come into a pause. I don't know who came up on top after all those kills, but I guess Diacup's
I'm giving the team with 2 kills on a Zoe and a lot more map control.
And 2 kills on an Ezreal as well. Let's talk about over-ambition, because that's my word of the OCS. Like, I say ambitious at least 10 times a cast. This was a play that Avant Academy maybe shouldn't have won, but I think it was like Katsuri went in behind a minion wave in a 1v2 where Johnson was like, hang on, man. I'm not there yet.
He was trying to make the best of a bad situation. He was trying to find angles to hit his mystic shots because obviously you can't hit it through the creep wave. You're just going to get blocked. So he's going in really, really deep to try and make it work and just went a bit too far. Yes, they ended up collapsing and winning this extended brawl that went on for about a minute and a half.
2 years, yeah.
But it's just they got that lead and they were trying just a bit too hard to snowball.
I think the snowballing effect is already in motion, though. 2 kills on the Ezreal. There's a tier there. And immediately, you have a Zoe with 2 kills. Now, Serum getting that kill in response, if he didn't get that, I feel like that mid lane would all be over. So now there's a chance for Serum to kind of catch up and keep up.
Yeah, it's so difficult for Serum to keep pace with the Zoe. Yes, he has a kill, but he's still going to not be able to roam as fast. He can't just walk past because anytime you see the Zoe roam, there's still the potential that she's just sitting there behind the wall waiting for you to roam, hits you with a bubble, hits you with a paddle star, and suddenly you've lost all your health. So it's so difficult for him to keep pace with her in the side lanes, especially without the TP.
But now, because you've got the Glacial Tomb, the ultimate from Lissandra is going to lock down Get Back. So there's an opportunity to take someone out of the fight. Remember that is such a good pick, such a good pick ultimate. And it's like the Glacial Prison. It's like that. And I'm just showing off all the Glacial ultimates. All right, Glacial Prison, Tegan. Who is it?
I don't know ability names.
Sejuani.
I'm a pro player. We know abilities by the QWER. That's
Come on, you got to learn it, man. It's exciting. To say Glacial Tomb, people think you're getting buried under ice, and we'll see if we see it in this game. Oh, of course we will. If you don't use your ult in the game, I'll be very disappointed. We're back in now, though, folks, and Norsca holds on to the binding. Does it cost him? On the other side of the map, the answer's yet. Johnson gets popped. A kill goes across the other side of the map. Ubisoft gets the Viking in red. So, a 1-for-1 trade, and welcome back.
We were expecting Diacubs to run away with this bot lane. But it looks like Avant Academy had said, who cares? Who cares that you got the kills? You bought a tier. That doesn't do anything for you. You don't get combat stats out of that straight away.
True.
We will keep taking fights you. Every bind that lands. Oh, you hate to see it.
You hate to see it, Tegan, and you did. There's the Glacial Tomb. Topoon being focused down. Pope slams him with the club.
Okay, that was a bit of a freebie up top. The second you get that, what is it called? Glacial Tomb?
Yeah.
The second you see that go down, the person's pretty much dead. He doesn't have flash, goes down.
But here we go again. Ubisoft, he gets landed. Nord's got the sleep trouble over his land. Pluto trying to turn it around, but he walks into the seismic shove. Katsuri gets Nord's, but Pluto survives. Aeon slows down the play. Diacubs will only pick up 1.
Oh. Great roam by Diacubs there to initiate that.
Yeah.
Very, very quick. It seems like this is just non-stop action.
Good.
I want to take you back to the previous fight.
Oh, land before time. Yeah, keep going.
Norsec has missed buying. Because I think a lot of people are going to be at home thinking, what an idiot. How do you miss that badly? Mia pinging his head. But he was trying to predict where the Ezreal was going to arcane shift. And that's what you have to do in this matchup.
Sometimes a good prediction is predicting that they'll stand still.
That is true.
Outplaying the outplay.
But that's the trouble for this lane is when you know the Ezreal is reacting quickly and perhaps just predicting where you're throwing it, just throwing his arcane shift instantly, you have to then try and predict where he's going. So, yes, he missed by about a screen. All right, it didn't.
A full screen.
It wasn't pretty.
1080p miss.
The right idea is there that he's trying to work out where Katsuri is going, where he's tending to end up, and try and hit him there.
I don't think that, me personally, I don't see an impact in this bottom side because, yes, kills are going across to the Ezreal who's 3-1, but you can't forget that Kaiser is so close to the Gwiznooz. That first item on the 80 carry, and that lane kind of holds itself.
I think the second he gets Winsus is when that lane just ceases to exist. That tower is going to go down so quickly. We're already seeing so many fights down there, and the second he does get the one item power spike, there's real 2v3 threat down there. There's real ability for them to turn around ganks. Even if Vitalia is there, they won't be in too much trouble. So as long as they're able to play aggressively within the reason, this bot lane is going to take down that tower in the next 5 minutes.
Can I also just point out, I think Katsuri is one of the only players to use Pulse Fire Ezreal in competitive. You see it in solo queue, but a lot of people just don't like the attack animation. I think this is the first.
It's a difficult one to get used to.
I mean, it has been fixed though. Like remember with Pulse by Ezreal, it has been changed and fixed up. That is sitting in my Rune Forge or whatever you call it. And I can't afford it. I just want Pulse Fire Ezreal and Spirit Guard Udyr. Oh, hang on. Never mind.
Good respect by the Avant Academy, Louis. They back off early. They know the Zoe is roaming. Like we said before, Serum can't follow these roams. It's not possible. He can't chase the Zoe. He can't roam as fast as her. He just needs to let his team know what she's doing and where she's going. Now Serum looking to dive behind this bot lane.
Well, the Ty calls, Blessing puts some damage out, but they're in a lot of trouble. Cannot be disabled, he says. Katsuri gets one on the backside. So much trouble now. Katsuri will go down. Does he take anyone else? No, he doesn't. A double kill goes down, and Topoon. This is familiar. Slam.
Counter-strike.
No.
Counter-strike.
The counter-strike. Pope.
Oh.
So close, but he will get it. The third kill for the top laner of Avant Academy.
Almost turning around.
Oh, flash forward. Woo! Settle down, boys. It's only 11 minutes.
Back to that fight.
Sure.
Great by Avant Academy. They were looking for the 5-net. They were all teleporting. Zoe.
We're going again. The poke forward. Seismic shove. What a wombo combo from Udysoft. Serum is so low. Glacial Path, he has to get out of there. Good dodge with the Hextech Protobelt and Avant Academy. They're on the run.
This is where you want to be as Zoe, though. Chasing people down that are on the run.
But Weaver's
you love
wall
this situation.
Rooted down. Now immediately Udysoft has to protect him. Serum comes back in.
No.
There's the Glacial Tomb. Serum heals back up. Get back with the poke. He misses. Trouble Bubble as well. Dire Cubs. They try to find the re-engage, but Avant Academy, they just slim, slop, and slide.
There was no way Serum meant to prison himself. That was intended for Zoe. Didn't get it off, and Zoe escapes, and now Avant Academy going to have to concede this bot lane tower. Only Norza can really stay.
He didn't use the Black Shield in time. Is there going to be any repercussion? Not this time. But Avant Academy, teleport's not up to Pluto. He's still walking to the bot side. But Katsuri with his early kills, now it's starting to show the power.
One thing we haven't spoken of, if we're speaking of power, is...
We haven't spoken about a lot of things.
Top lane has been left on an island, and that is horrible for Daikon.
Yeah.
Topoon is really hurting up there. 0-3 and 0, Trundle is having his way in that lane. And the longer he gets ignored, the worse it will get. I said before that Jax will outscale it, but not at this rate. This needs intervention from Udysoft or Get Back. And right now, everything is focused down bot lane, so it doesn't seem like it's going to come.
Topoon is 2 levels behind. 30 CS. Almost 40. Pope is controlling this lane. And blessed be him. Because right now, if you run into the Pope, you will get baptized.
Jesus.
Does Topoon want that? I'm not sure. That is a political argument.
No one wants that.
That is a religious argument.
Oh my god.
Have I overstepped my mark? I don't know. It's been many years of me casting. I feel like one day I will get pulled on it, but not this day. This day we fight. Avant Academy's top laner is 3 levels ahead, and Topoon says, get off my turret, please. Pope gets first turret blood. Topoon's in a lot of trouble, and Pope is just having a field day.
Udysoft is on his way up here, though, so if Pope kept going, which he wisely did not, he would have been punished. But like I was saying before, there needs to be something happening up there, and there just isn't.
Oh, now again, the fight's in the bottom side. Norzka on the wrong side of the map, but will it work out? Katsuri takes him down, but Johnson has no mana. TP's there. Is Topoon right here? I think he could be if he gets the kill. Pluto goes down. The response is there. But Avant Academy, they win that fight. It's a 3-for-2.
It's a 3-for-2, and they get the advantage down bot lane. They could potentially take this turret down as well. Yes, Talia is there, but Lissandra still has her ultimate.
I don't think this is the right move for Udysoft if he sticks around. He'll just try and poke them out. And Serum, now with the Glacial Path, the tomb is set and will be buried alongside the Viking.
That is no respect given. Why are you still there? You know Lissandra has to have her ultimate. She hasn't used it on anyone. You sit in range of it. Lissandra decides, you know what? Respect me. Throws the ultimate. They get the kill. They get the tower. Avant Academy, now, with a lot of control over this game, look to take Dragon.
Is this a day of upsets? I'm starting to think so. First ground 0 against Emprox, and now the 2 sister teams of our OPL heroes are going head-to-head, and Avant Academy is showcasing big. 4K gold lead, a Cloud Drake sits in their midst. And there's just so many win conditions now on the map for Avant Academy. Every single lane comes out ahead.
Look, normally I'd be downplaying Cloud Drake and saying it's not that effective, but in a game like this, where people are roaming non-stop,
It's the best dragon.
that's the Drake you want.
The best one. Who would have thought,
But,
Tiga?
I mean, I'd still want the Inferno.
No.
Alright. But it's great. It's still good. It's still good.
Still good. A little bit rusty, but still good. Katarine Johnson up into the top side. I think for this game, and I know I say I think a lot, but work with me here. 23 kills, 15 minutes. But I think Avant Academy, if it keeps going like this, they are in such a good position. Because you've got a Talia who relies solely on early game to get ahead. Jax is so far behind. The more fights that are taken, the more Avant Academy win.
They're also leaving that Jax in the isolated 1v1.
Yeah.
They're just leaving him off on his own. We were saying before that he is playing the weak side. He is playing the isolated side.
Oh, Ubisoft deleted that tomb, named rightly so.
Just got put. It's just 6
Put
feet
in the
under
ground.
instantly.
Yeah.
There was no hope for him. He just shouldn't have been there. Plain and simple. He has flash up, chooses not to use it because honestly it wouldn't have got him out. So correct choice to save the flash at least. But Avant Academy, proactive plays, Rift Herald now as well. This will break open mid lane, which is pretty important if they want to keep roaming around as aggressively as they are.
I'm going to say this, Tegan, agree if you want, but focusing around the bot side might have been a mistake for Dicums. Because Ezreal got ahead early, leave it then. Leave it, because Katarine Johnson, although there was focused response from Avant Academy, what if Ubisoft went to the top side and there was another condition for Dicums to play around?
I'm going to agree with a caveat that I don't think they should have focused down there at all. I think it just should have been all top. If you're going to pick Jax, get him ahead. The second he's ahead in this matchup, the snowball is just out of control.
Yeah.
Instead, the Trundle slowly built his own lead, and now he is really difficult to deal with, up about 60 CS, 3 kills. The Jax that you want to win that split, you want him to win that 1v1. Now Trundle, who we were doubting his effectiveness coming into mid-game, late game, he's willing to just sit over there on his own and do his own thing.
It's quite ironic, isn't it? Because the Trundle's ahead, which is something we'd normally say about Ubisoft. Ubisoft picked the Trundle like 4 weeks in a row, and it wasn't respect banned out. This time Avant Academy took it away, and there was no priority whatsoever. Ubisoft has a huge amount of focus around the mid-top side, usually. So this is a change. The change in playstyles that comes with Top Boon. Is Serum caught out? That one will hit, and Get Back comes in. Ubisoft there as well. Glacial Prison. Sorry, Tomb lockdown. Flight forward. Serum outplays onto Get Back. He jumps back, and Serum almost takes him out. They will trade it off a 1-for-1. But Avant Academy, they get the top side and the mid lane.
They could get 2 here as well.
Under control. This is incredibly huge.
There's no reason Avant Academy don't get 2 towers here. And yes, the top was only a 1-for-1, but 2 towers mid lane, especially in a game like this, that is priceless.
Katsuri and Johnson will defend it away, but look at the snowball effect that's happened. Katsuri walking forward into Nausicaa. Will he commit? The answer is no. Aeons is there briefly for a moment, but Top Boon being forced out again. And Pope on the chase.
Talia is almost in range down for bot lane. So if that fight continues, I feel like Top Boon should have kept enticing him.
Turtle.
Kept him like, you know, just keep poking him, keep prodding, let him take those better trades and then get the Talia in. Instead, Trundle backs off. I do like this from Avant Academy. They're resetting as a team. They back off. They just get back on the map at the same time. They don't want to overstep their bounds. They know they're in the lead right now.
Okay, so last week Avant Academy had this lead. Last week Avant Academy couldn't close out. Yes, very different style when you're considering OCS was one of the first competitive regions. OCS, we were one of the first tournaments, let's say that, on 8.11. And a lot of players didn't know what to do. Now, the rotation around the early game is just huge. So, the question comes back to, can they finally close it out? Can Avant Academy shore up what they couldn't do, considering that last week they were just so far ahead?
I still think it isn't even solved. Like, as much as we've started finding and defining this new meta, there's nowhere near solved.
Yeah.
But back onto Avant Academy, who have seemed to find a little bit of comfort in it, is cool. They do need to find out how to close out the game, and that might be through Baron. Now we're starting to get to the point where we can see Baron as a potential objective. You can start taking control of that top side, and if they send people down to deal with Pope in that 1v1, that's where you have to pull the trigger.
So Pope, the man to focus, the man on a mission. He's 3-0 right now. Team at Iceborne Gauntlet. He's built to split, and why shouldn't he? Trinity Force took this long to pick up, and Serum forces the real flash out of Get Back.
It was the right flash.
Yeah.
You have to do that. Anytime Lissandra has ulti up and you're in range, you have to give that respect, because if you don't, we've seen what happens, you die.
Does the Trouble Bubble land? I'm not too sure. I think the answer's no again. Walking forward, Diacup's losing their own jungle. Aeons walks and takes it. Baron now alive, 20 seconds until that Ocean Drake, and Topu, can he finally win a fight? Pope seems to think not. He walks forward, confident as ever. The Subjugate will not tick over, and now immediately Ubisoft there, the response. Pope running away as Ubisoft continues to chase. What will this open up? A seismic shove misses, and Topoon, so ambitious. That might have opened up the mid turret to be defended, but right now, Avant Academy, wow, get picked up. They get the mid turret and they walk away, but they lost Serum.
Losing Serum is huge, and that might not even be all.
Johnson, you sneaky devil, get back again, and oh no, it looks like nap time has come early for Aeons. He misses a flash and he gets shut down.
That should be Baron for Diacups. They need this objective. They were falling behind. They've just bought a lot of control. They have 5 members up. The only 2 that can really contest it are Kai'Sa and Trundle. Not champions that you expect to mount a 2v5 offense. The one reprieve they have is Nami has no mana. She's basically a minion. Ezreal also a little bit low, so there's a chance.
Well, hang on, Pope is 3-0, Tiga. He teleported in, and Pluto's there, but doesn't have much mana. Drowsy goes Pope, Pluto walking forward. It will eventually be secured. Serum almost takes it, but he eventually takes out one with him. The fight is turning over. Pluto takes one before he dies, but Pope is on the chase. Flash taken by Get Back as Drowsy will land for Pope. Can he continue the chase? Serum's there, and on the side, Diacups just want to escape with their lives. It is too hard for Johnson, and looks to be too hard for Get Back. A shutdown, and 4 members dead. Diacups just got blown up.
A 4-for-1 Baron. That's tough. That is, I still want to say it's almost worth it, because you take it off the map. It's no longer an objective. But is that going to be an inhib for Avant Academy? I think it is.
Katsuri's up. Ubisoft is up. The damage starting to come through on the side of Diacups, but walking forward, Serum is ready. Serum is such a threat right now. They cannot contest. Top lane turret goes down, and the inhibitor should fall with it.
It does, and now can Avant Academy get out safe? Diacups are going to look to chase them down, get what they can.
Tidal wave lands on no one. Walking forward, Topoon. Has he been caught out? The re-engage can happen at any time. But they escape. And Avant Academy, they've broken the top lane inhibitor absolutely free.
Now, you have Baron on 1 member of Diacups. How do you utilize it to get at least something back? I was saying it's sort of worth, because you've removed the objective. Now Avant Academy can't rely on that to break the game open. But you need to get something out of it. The mid tower, yeah, that's something, but it's not enough. You're down a little over 5k gold.
Yeah.
The Lissandra and the Trundle are both out of control.
Yeah, I'm moving as a 5-man unit, so at least now they're grouping. Tegan, the one thing I'm concerned about, the Guinsoo's first item for Pluto, right? There's Guinsoo's there, and then the second item is Blade of the Ruined King for Kai'Sa. We see the standard AP build, the Nash's Tooth into Rabadons. Am I sure about Blade of the Ruined King against this team comp? Maybe, considering how Topoon is.
It's a hard sell. I think it comes back to what they need out of their damage. We saw it earlier with Kai'Sa taking a lot of AP because they needed AP damage. Now you have him going for a more traditional AD build. I'm not sure if it was necessary because Trundle does pack a lot of AD, so you could have went that AP build. Perhaps it's just a personal stylistic choice from Pluto. It's not something that I would have expected.
Well, he was looking for more sustain anyway, but that would have come out of the Merc Scimitar if he got to that point. Instead, maybe there's questions around the map, but Avant Academy, they're firmly in control. 6,000 gold up, and they're waiting to break another inhibitor. That top pressure goes into Topoon, and as a lot of other castles would say, that's a free bit of 2k gold. But right now, Avant Academy don't care. Beautiful too.
Wow.
Serum, you are a magical genius.
I said he was practiced on Lissandra. I said he was good at it.
You did.
And you've just seen it. He's aggressive. He knows his limits. He goes in. gets two very important members. Avant Academy have broken
Oh
the base.
no! That route is going to cost Ubisoft. He gets taken down by Pluto. A fantastic killer instinct. And Avant Academy, can they end here, Tiga?
I think they can. I'm not sure if Dicubs can defend. They don't have wave clear. They don't have the fight here.
They might not have the damage. Serum goes golden. Top Boon is trying to defend with his life, but Get Back gets one. Can he get any more? Now onto the Nexus. It looks like this could be the upset that sets them up for OPL tomorrow. The Nexus goes down, and Avant Academy, they walk over Dicubs to secure themselves a 3-3.
Another impressive victory. It wasn't what we were expecting.
Impressive.
A very standard game as well.
More than that.
I mean, aside from Lissandra.
Lissandra, like Serum needs to get some serious recognition right now.
Yep.
That Lissandra was the turning point, or if there was ever a chance Dicubs could come back, Lissandra shut them down.
Yeah, there was a point where I was saying I preferred the Zoe 2-0.
Yeah.
Like, had control of the game, was rotating a lot, but Serum kept it cool. Didn't try to chase when he knew he couldn't. Just let his team be aware of where she is, waited for himself to get strong, and then took over the game. Lots of influential ultimates from him, roaming effectively, getting kills where he needed to. Just cool, calm, collected from Avant Academy, and I wasn't expecting that from them. Not in a standard game.
I don't think I was either. Avant Academy just came through and made a second upset of the night. And when we say upsets, we're talking about teams that maybe don't have the greater than 50% win rate. As we look at what happened tonight, and red, blue, red, blue.
Big change from Wednesday, which was all red all night.
But we know why there were red wins, right, Tegan? Like, red side, the first two picks have just shown why they can get the win.
In metas where there's always going to be, 3, 4, 5 strong picks available, red side tends to do better. And that's what we're seeing now, where red side does well when you can get multiple strong picks.
Oh, yeah. At the moment, standings are so close after the wins today, after finding exactly what you needed to compete with the big boys. There is only one team undefeated here, Tegan, and that is Intuition.
They've almost locked up that first seed. The reason I say almost is the meta shift. Intuition, how do they adapt to it? We've seen other teams willing to take it on, willing to be aggressive in their changes of strategy. Intuition 6-0. The only way someone can take them down is by, I want to say, adapting quickly and utilizing this new style.
Keyword for tonight, Tegan, adaptation. Mammoth Academy sit with Dicubs now, right now. Dicubs had the chance to sit 5-1 with Chiefs Academy. Emprox had that same chance, but Avant Academy, ground zero, shut them down. And this may be one of the closest OCS splits. I think 1 to at least 12 or 13 at the moment is up for contention. At the moment, Darksided, they just need to show us that they can get that first win on the board, and then maybe they can join in the ranks.
Like I was saying, I want them to adapt this new style. Standard isn't working for Darksided.
Yeah.
The same as Legacy. The standard play isn't working for them. Change something.
Well, it's Aatrox standard. I mean,
he is a strong top laner, and he was played in top. That's as close to standard as you're going to get.
Fair enough. That's fair. Well, for Legacy
With
Genesis, we always come back to them, of course. They're OCE classics, and we'll see more games of OCE next week. However, with the next week's games, I see kind of a branch out for some teams once again.
I want to say the Wednesday games are difficult. We've just seen Avant Academy and Ground Zero both pick up very necessary wins to start a comeback for the season, and Avant going into Intuition. That is a tough ask for Avant Academy. Ground Zero get a little bit of a reprieve. We've just seen Dicubs immortal, but can they continue it?
Dicubs will be scared after that last match going up against Ground Zero. QT Tigers might be scared because Bombers Academy are making the run as well. So Wednesday's games are going to see if this was just a one-off or if truly this meta is favoring some of these teams that have just been playing through their team comps and not really coming out ahead.
Tell you what, the big one to watch on Thursday for me is Crimson versus Emprox.
Oh yeah, we back.
Emprox struggled a bit today, struggled adapting.
But Crimson didn't.
They did not.
Crimson were probably the most dominant. For a team that got swapped on and role swapped, they took that well and they just came through in flying colours.
Took it all in stride, and that's what you want to see. If they aren't the ones being proactive about changing their strategy, they have to be able to react to the changes, and they showed they can.
But of course, warming you up with that proactivity was the OCS today. Tomorrow is the OPL, where Spawn and EG will be joining you on the desk alongside Nick Boys. it's Niche Boy or Nick Boy. There's a H there, and I'm saying is it Nick Boy, is it Niche Boy? But either way, in tomorrow's games, we're not going to see the matchup. But you know what we're going to see on Saturday? We're going to see the Avant and Direwolves matchup. See if Avant can take it over Direwolves.
You'd have to hope they want to take after their OCS little brothers and take the win, but that's a hard one. Like we said, Direwolves, they went undefeated last season. It was close in the gauntlet, right? 3-2.
Yep.
Very close victory for them. And now, starting the season 2-1 against Order, they're not looking as untouchable. And can Avant take advantage of that?
Well, it's already won for Avant Academy in the OCS. However, that is it for the OCS. A big thank you to Bradley Teagun Seymour. I am Hysterics. Big thank you to our production, and I'm sorry to Niche Boy or Nick Boy. I cannot get it right. But if you're watching,
surely.
I apologize. We'll see you tomorrow for the OPL. Not me personally, not him personally, but they'll see you personally. Best outro ever? I think not. See you next week.